Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
And good evening and welcome inside North Bay Memorial Gardens as you are watching OHL hockey. Tonight's matchup features the Erie Otters in town to take on the North Bay Battalion. I'm your host, Derek Lindemann, and you are watching Battalion Hockey here on the front line. Tonight's pregame show is brought to you by...
The pregame show is brought to you by La Huerta Imports, family owned and operated since 1995. Visit lahuertaimports.com.
And this evening I have Ben Sargent joining me as always for the pregame show. Ben, the Erie Otters come in losing their last 5 games. And the big news out of Erie is that its head coach, Stan Butler, formerly of the North Bay Battalion, spent 20 seasons as the bench boss for the Battalion organization, makes his first return since being named the Erie Otters head coach just a couple of weeks ago. 5 losses in a row. How do you feel the crowd is going to respond to Stan Butler coming back into the Gardens?
I think it's going to be interesting. So he was let go in December of 2019, and in kind of a lot of people weren't maybe the happiest with the way that he ran the team in the last few years he was here. And obviously Ryan Ulan and Adam Ness have come in and had great success, especially in the last 2 seasons or so. So I think it's going to be kind of interesting. I definitely think there's going to be some sort of tribute. Maybe, I don't know if there's going to be a video tribute, but there's probably going to be something on the screen or some acknowledgement that we're going to see here by the Battalion this evening. But I think overall it's going to be a very interesting it's going to be very interesting to see how the fans are going to react to his homecoming. Yeah,
wondering about the video tribute myself for Stan Butler. He was a long-time head coach of the North Bay Battalion organization, and like you said, left in December of 2019. There's really no attachment between that and the players on the ice for the Battalion.
Yeah, and that was something that we brought up on the podcast on Tuesday. We had Owen Van Stietzel, who will hopefully have a clip for you in the first intermission to show you some of that. But one of the things I asked him was, is there anything in the locker room is there kind of some anticipation for that? Obviously, only a handful of guys were around for that for when Butler was around. A lot of these guys were drafted during the COVID year and came in later. So he said there's a little bit of buzz, there's a little bit of excitement, but for the most part, it's just another game for them. But for Ryan Houlihan, though, it might be a different story.
Definitely a different story. The Erie Otters 0-5 under the helm of Stan Butler. Let's look at the North Bay Battalion. They coming off of basically a win-loss for the month of February. They haven't been able to string together 2 consecutive wins for the last 3 weeks. It's something that they're looking to do for the first time in February after the win Thursday night here at home.
Yeah, and you got to think they're playing Erie, and Erie's having not the best season. They're kind of like they're having a bit of better season than Niagara, but they're essentially the same as what we saw with the Niagara Ice Dogs. This is a team that, for a team like the Battalion, who are very good, against a team like Erie, who's very struggling this year, who have sold off a lot of the deadline. They don't have a lot really going for them this season. This has got to be a big win, and you'll see that with who we have in net here this evening.
Big win tonight, especially. Our players to watch have a very tight connection as they were drafted 1-2 back in that U16 draft of 2020, and they're going to be brought to us tonight by Mike, the financial advisor.
Players to Watch is brought to you by Mike, the financial advisor. If you have financial questions, he has financial answers. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Mike the FA.
Our players to watch tonight are for the Erie Otters, Pano Finis, originally with the Niagara Ice Dogs, recently being acquired in a trade from Niagara. He was the 2nd overall pick in 2020, and going first that year was Ty Nelson of the North Bay Battalion.
Yeah, we all know what Ty Nelson has done for this team so far. As it's been a very good time for Ty Nelson. Obviously, he had the chance to break the all-time goal record for a Battalion player last game against. In their last game, and unfortunately the game was called back in that game against Barrie. He had a goal. It was called back because of an offside. He's going to have another chance here this evening to try to break that goal record that's held by Cam Deneen. So it's going to be very interesting to see that. On the other side, as you said, Pano Finis, he's having a decent season. He's 35 points in 44 games, most of those coming from the assists. So he still hasn't been able to consistently find the back of the net, which I think is going to be something that he's going to be focused on. But on that top line this evening, I think he's going to be a big point for the Erie Otters that they're going to try to outscore the Battalion here.
Yeah, the Erie Otters picking up Pano Finis from the Ice Dogs. That was one of the main attractions for the Erie Otters to make that trade with Niagara, was getting Finis in return. Pretty much the same lineup that we saw Thursday night in that 4-2 win for the North Bay Battalion. Still the same scratches for the troops.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting. So one of the interesting things is we see a bit of a difference in the bottom 6 as Van Steetzel gets to move up to that Jackson blue line. Bloom is going to move from left wing over to the right wing, so we'll see if that has any effect on his play. Romani gets to play in that line down there with Tarian and Procession, so Tarian going back on his natural left wing. So it'll be very interesting, but that top 6 remains the same. And Derek, we looked at Zito last game, and Zito looked very good on that line with Arnsby and McDonald.
Yeah, he didn't look like he missed a beat after sitting out for the last 2 weeks with an ankle injury. He'll be back on that top line with Arnsby and McDonald. That crashing unit, Arnsby and McDonald, create a lot of room for Pasquale Zito to use his speed and skill.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about on the podcast as well was we talked a little bit about this line, and you have McDonald, who's the pure goal scorer, who's able to make things happen by himself. Zito's a great guy if you want to play chip and chase. If you can't get any transition game going, he has so much speed. He's very much like Tarasevic in that way, that he's a very chip and chase, very speedy guy that can kind of win those puck battles in the corner. And of course, when you look at Arnsby, not a guy who puts up an incredible amount of points, but he does all the right things on the ice. He does the right job with centermen that you have to basically support in each corner. It's a very hard position to be in. So with Zito being able to not worry about the center roles and be able to just kind of focus on his side of the ice as a winger, I think that's going to help his game out a lot.
Yeah, and then that totally line, the second unit, Wakely, Petrov, and Tarasevic, just have looked unstoppable for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, Tarasevic has really surprised me because even when he's not putting the puck in the net, when he's not getting a lot of assists, he's still creating a lot of opportunities. If you look at their last few games against Sarnia, even at times versus Barrie, there were times where they really couldn't get anything going, but Tarasevic was right there. He leads the team with 5 shorthanded goals, one over Josh Bloom, so he's been so effective on the penalty kill as well. And what more can you say about the way that Matvei Petrov has played? This team would not be where they are today if Petrov did not play in the way that he did in the month of January.
Well, tonight kicks off a strange 3-5 weekend for the North Bay Battalion. After tonight, they'll be on the road They'll be in Barrie Saturday night to take on the Barrie Colts. That'll be the last matchup between those two teams this season. And then they'll play a rare Monday game for Holiday Monday. They'll be in Ottawa to take on the 67s.
And we know that's going to be an absolutely huge game, as they're now 4 points behind the 67s for that top spot. As Ottawa was able to break apart a little bit as the Battalion were able to string some wins together. But at the end of the day, that's going to be an absolutely huge game. As again, it's all about home ice advantage, and you have to think if the way that it's probably going to shake down is it's most likely going to be Ottawa North Bay in that Eastern final, and you got to think that home ice advantage is going to be a big deal. And of course, they haven't played very well on the road lately, so that's going to be another big thing as they go on a 5-game road trip. They're not back here until March the 2nd against Sudbury.
Yeah, and that game on Saturday, that's going to be an interesting contest in Barrie after what we saw happen here Thursday night as the Battalion beat the Colts 4-2.
Yeah, and honestly, the Battalion played, I think, a much better game. Barrie played a very solid game. They kept up with it, but I think that the Battalion dominated that game, about 90% of that game in just terms of overall feel and pace of the game. And for the most part, I think that if you're North Bay, you're going in it feeling pretty good, but it was definitely a close contest, and whenever you play Barrie, you can't take them for granted, as they are right behind them in the standings.
Well, the Erie Otters come in with the lowest seed in the Western Conference. Currently, they have 37 points in 49 games. Can't overlook these guys before the weekend. Last time these two teams met was back November 5th of 2022, and it was the North Bay Battalion winning 5-3. That game was down in Erie.
Yeah, and as you said, it's going to be very important that the Battalion focus on what they are now. You can look at that Ottawa game and say, like, hey, that's going to be very important, but I think at the end of the day, if you look at this game here, yes, Erie's had a tough year, but we've seen that this team can play down to their competition a little bit. We saw that against Oshawa. We've seen that against Sudbury. They need to come out and play the same game they played against Barrie. They need to play that complete 60-minute game and we talked about them coming out to slow starts. They need to start off the game strong. They need to get that first goal, and they need to get basically a goal, I think, in the first 10 minutes and set the pace.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did Thursday night against Barrie, scoring 2 goals in the first 10 minutes before giving up 2 goals of their own in that first period. Let's look at the starting goaltenders for tonight for the Erie Otters. Nolan Lalonde making his 30th appearance for the Otters, coming in with a .715 1-3 record, a .435 goals against average, and an .854 save percentage, Ben.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be very interesting when you look at Lalonde, as he's Columbus Blue Jackets draft pick, and it's going to be very interesting. He's not had the best year. He's got over a 4 goals against average, and he's going to be up against a tough Tom. We know how well the Battalion do at scoring goals, so it's going to be I think it's going to be a tough assignment for him this evening.
And getting the start for the North Bay Battalion, a player we haven't seen since before the prospect game, Charlie Robertson, 15th appearance, a 7-4-0-1 record, .342 goals against average, and an .881 save percentage.
Yeah, so Robertson hasn't played since that Mississauga game. Obviously, he went off to the CHL Prospects game. He got injured in that Mississauga game. He did not look super sharp. There were a couple of goals that went by his glove side that I think he would have liked to have back. DiVincentis then put this team back on this team on his shoulders. Mike McIver did get 1 start during that stretch, but it's going to be a big game for Charlie Robertson. He needs to come out here and have a really good game to show that there's still Ryan Houlihan can still have faith in him down the stretch, especially considering next weekend they're going to be playing back-to-back games.
Yeah, big weekend ahead. That 3-3 as they make that road trip down to Saginaw, Flint, and Sarnia. But the teams are taking the ice here at Memorial Gardens. Pretty soon we'll see Stan Butler make his return, this time to the visitors' bench at Memorial Gardens.
It should be one heck of a game, and I'm expecting this not to be a blowout. I think this is going to be a good, solid game. But if you're the Battalion, again, if you can get a 2-0, 3-0 lead after 1, kind of put this game away after 20 minutes, that would be really good. But I don't think you can take this game for granted at all. I think Erie's going to come out on fire. They've had some bad luck. They've been blown out in their last game, but I think they're due for a good one. And you know there's a little bit of something going on in Stan Butler's mind, and he wants to get a big win here and a big upset this evening. And
just interesting enough, the North Bay Battalion going with their 3rd jersey, wearing a black and gold with that Centurion Tank logo. So a big night here also for the Battalion, getting that chance to wear their retro uniforms again, this time with that tank on the front.
Yeah, and they look sharp. I personally like the white ones. I said this to Cordy on the way in. It's unfortunate they're not wearing their white ones, but the black ones are also very nostalgic for when they used to play back in the early 2000s, of course. with a couple of great teams, and they used to be the Centennials, and they do look good, so it'll be very interesting.
They do look good. They look a lot bigger on the ice, sporting the black uniforms. Just curious if that had any effect on the return of Stan Butler, knowing maybe he did not really prefer those uniforms when he was here, when they had those Centennial throwback nights.
It might, I don't know. And it's weird too, because you know that with Butler, he wasn't part of the Centennials in any way, right? He was with Brampton when they were the full battalion, so yeah, maybe... Who knows what the head office is doing?
A little mind games going on there. Tonight is Talk Today, game 4, Canadian Mental Health Association here in North Bay. One out of 5 teenagers deal with a mental health issue, and they're going to be honored before the game as a special puck drop will be done for the Canadian Health Mental Association. Well, Ben, we're set up here for tonight's contest. Courtney Kenny will join you for the first period on. You are listening to Battalion Hockey here on the Frontline broadcast as it's Otters Battalion next on the Frontline.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
Good evening, I guess, at this point, and we welcome you inside North Bay Memorial Gardens as Derek Lindemann has already done so this evening. I'm Courtney Kenny, he's Ben Sargent, and unless you've been living under a rock for the past month, you knew this game had been circled since the Erie Otters had hired former Battalion head coach Stan Butler to be their head coach in mid-January, Ben.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game. I think we're all kind of really excited for this one to go, and kind of weird to see Stan back in the building underneath the visiting coach, as that was kind of his perch for 5-6 years that he was here. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this one goes out, but Erie not doing so well this year, so it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be one of those games where we're either going to see a very good game or it could get ugly. It could be a Niagara-style game, but it'll be interesting. I think a big start for Charlie Robertson here this evening as kind of a tough start against Mississauga. There were a couple of times where he felt that Ryan Houlihan have a lot of faith in him, as DiVincentis got a lot of workload, including a back-to-back game versus when they played Sudbury and then Mississauga the next day. So I really look for Charlie Robertson to be a big part of this hockey game.
Me too, and he hasn't played a game since the top prospects game back in January when he went that way. Just one more thing on Stan Butler, the only other coach in North Bay Battalion history before Ryan Houlihan. He also coached, obviously, Ryan Houlihan when he was a battalion captain and then assistant coach as well with the Brampton and the North Bay Battalion. So the student has become the master, so to speak, although we've seen these guys face off before when he was with the Flint Firebirds. Those two, 4 times the teams split evenly between the Battalion and Flint, 2-2. As we're underway here, a quick shot is stopped by Robertson, and we're in action in the Battalion zone as the Battalion try to get the puck out of their zone, which they do. The Otters in their road whites going left to right. The Battalion in their home blacks here tonight as they wear their Centurion jersey are going right to left. Up to Kyle Jackson in the neutral zone. Jackson leaves it behind for Bloom. Bloom, sharp angle, tries to throw it out front. Lalonde got a pat on that one and kicked it aside. Now it's over to Nelson. Nelson keeps it in. Nelson sitting at 19 goals. One more puts him in rarefied territory here with the Battalion, as Christopoulos just barely keeps the puck in, but not for long, as going the other way is the Otters. Panofimos, the former Niagara Ice Dog, shoots the puck in on Robertson, who kicks the puck out of play. And Panofimos, I believe you and Derek were talking about this earlier, second overall pick, who went first overall in that 2020 draft, of course, Ty Nelson.
Ty Nelson, yeah. Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting. I think he's going to be the key here. Not quite a point-per-game player, as he's played about 44 games, has 35 points, only 12 goals. I think we want to see him put the puck in the net a little bit more as the season goes on.
Out front, quick shot by the Otters, and it's blocked in front. And as we hear from Owen Van Steensel this week on the podcast, he talks about getting the puck in the shin. If you get it the right way, it doesn't hurt so much. Still a little painful, though, of course, as we have Avery Winslow on the near side wall, battling it out, loses the puck. Puck comes out front to Robertson, but Christopoulos picks that one off, as now McDonald having struggles getting out of his zone. He gets the puck up to Armsby. Armsby quickly to Zito. Zito with some speed, can't quite catch up on the puck. And that's going to be Spencer Sova who got to it first, but now Zito in the corner tries to throw the puck out first, but Femus, the former teammate of Zito, flips the puck back down into the Troops zone. Now, that's Lukin with it up to Petrov. Petrov, who's come alive here the last few weeks, skates the puck in, all alone on the lawn, gets a shot away, and Nolan Lalonde, the goaltender here for the Otters, with a big save here just under 2 minutes in.
Yeah, and Petrov obviously has been, I don't think this team would be even close to where they are right now if Matvei Petrov didn't put this team on his back in January. And it's going to be very, Wakely, I think Dallin Wakely's done a great job in centering that line recently, and there's been a lot of great chemistry between those 3 guys. As again, Tarasevic, what more can you ask out of a guy than what he's put on the table?
He's been fantastic for the Troops since coming over in a trade last year, but from the Sarnia Sting. Puck knocked down, Robertson going to throw that puck up for Kennedy, and now is stopped by the Otters, who now throw the puck in. It's going to be Cohen. Cohen taking in hard into the boards, and now the puck comes out to Kennedy. He throws it out front, nearly picked off there by the Otters. Cohen now behind the net, flips it up the ice, and that's going to be knocked off by Sauter. And now the puck knocked in offside, however, so we're going to get a face-off here by the Battalion bench. And we're a couple of minutes now into Stan Butler's tenure as an away coach at North Bay Memorial Gardens.
Yeah, and I think it's been a pretty decent start for the Battalion right now. Shots are even at 2, but one thing that the Battalion did really well against Barrie was they controlled the whole pace. They were pretty much in the offensive zone the entire time, and I think that's something that they haven't quite gotten there yet, but they are definitely controlling pace play a little bit when it comes to the offensive zone.
Terrian tripped up going into the Otters zone. No call coming, although it looked like there was, but it was the linesman who was signaling for offside. There's now a pass up ice for Procession, doesn't get to him, and then is sent in by Johnston back to the Battalion zone, and now the Otters once again go offside. Another interesting thing to note, Ben, he wants it to come tonight. Stan Butler still looking for his first win here as the head coach of the Erie Otters.
Yeah, he has a shootout loss in one of, I believe this is his 5th game now behind the bench. And yeah, their last game that they won was when he was not behind the bench. So yeah, this would be kind of one of those storybook kind of plays for him, especially in a season where Erie's not really doing anything this year. They're most likely not making the playoffs. This would be one of those small kind of wins that would be nice to look back on.
I had seen some people were disappointed because the team was playing better under interim head coach. I'm blanking on his name right now, and then they see that they've said that the team has taken some steps back. But I think that's kind of what's happened too when you come in midway and you try to learn the different players, right, and their play styles, and now they're trying to learn your coaching style. As Hislop flips it up to Van Steensel, left for Van Steensel, out front now, and a good chance there by Bloom, but he couldn't get a shot away as the puck comes back out to the blue line. It was out of reach for Nelson, so Nelson plays in the neutral zone to Hislop, who passes it up to Van Steensel, comes back out to the red line for Nelson. Nelson gains the line, throws the puck in behind the net. Lalonde out to play the puck. Nolan Lalonde, a highly thought of goaltender as he's a Columbus Blue Jackets prospect. Not really having a good year statistically for the Otters, however, which dismays me a little bit as a Blue Jackets fan. Puck on the near side half wall in the Battalion zone. Two troops are battling for it, but Femus comes away with it. Femus couldn't get around Christopoulos. Now Zito has the puck. Flips it back around behind his net to Christopoulos. Quickly up the ice for Jackson. Gets it to McDonald, who flips the puck back in, and Zito chases after. With the puck behind the net, that's Johnston. Johnston quickly gets the puck up, giving away to Armsby. Armsby out front trying to get to Zito. He would have been in prime possession to let a shot get away, but he couldn't get the puck to settle down as it was into the corner. Molnar up the ice, picked off by Zito. Zito quickly over for Armsby. Armsby back to McDonald with a quick shot, and that one's blocked. McDonald teed one up, and that one was blocked by Molnar. And you got to think that one didn't feel too good. As now Winslow picks the puck up in his own zone. Just under 5 minutes gone here in the first period. Nothing between the Battalion and the Otters. And now the Otters with the puck into the zone. It's kicked aside by Robertson as now McDonald's battling with Torrance. Fun fact, you would think it's Terrence, but we were told before the game it is not. Quickly cross ice to Sauter. Sauter flips it in. Now it's behind the net for Torrance. Now it's McDonald who picks up the loose puck through the neutral zone. He just gains the line, rather turns around, flips the puck up for Wakely, and then the puck sent in. It would have been offside, but it was right on net for Lalonde, so he had to play the puck. And now it's back to the neutral zone. Lucan chips the puck back towards the Otters zone. And now it's a stretch pass there for the Otters in alone. They can't get anything to go, and then tried with a reach around and couldn't get that one. That was Cohen with that one. Good chance there for the Otters, just couldn't get a shot away. Kennedy in the neutral zone, up to Petrov. Petrov plays the puck, was offside, however. And now we're going to have a stoppage here with 14-17 left in the first period. Shots on goal, though, 3-3.
Yeah, so far the Battalion having a couple of better chances. A lot of the shots on Robertson not too bad, and a couple of those opportunities, as you just saw with Cohen at the far end. A pretty good defensive play by Lucan to get back there and stop and kind of stop it. So it's going to be, again, it's all about trying to keep those high-scoring chances out of the way. And
nearly picked off by Romani in the middle of the Otters zone, but the puck bounced off him too hard and goes back to the Otters. Now the Otters push the puck back in. Lucan battling with his man on the near side half wall. Procession sends the puck in behind his net. Now behind the net is Artichuk. Artichuk sends it up. Lucan picks it off. Terrian with a quick one-touch pass to Procession. But Procession can't get it through the neutral zone as there was a mess of bodies. There is now Alfano. Sends the puck in and goes after it. Alfano into the neutral or into the slot area. Couldn't get a shot away. And that was Saganuk who couldn't get the chance off. Now, behind the net of Robertson, a mess of bodies up against the wall, whacking away at it. And the Otters look like they're going to come away with it before Terrian does, and he throws it out in front of his net. Nearly gave that away to Erie. And now Terrian has the puck down the ice. Terrian tries to flip it in, and now Johnston's going to get the red line and send it up to Alfano. Alfano with the shot. That one handcuffed Robertson. He still doesn't have possession of it, and now he drags the puck into him, and that was a late whistle after he had the puck under him. But at first he didn't, as he got it up in the shoulder and it dropped down beside him.
Yeah, and we've seen Robertson again. We talked about his last story against Mississauga where he kept a couple by the glove side that he probably would have liked back. As he goes blocker side there, a good save, but we talked about rebound control, and that's one where as a goalie, it's very important to not let those second chance opportunities go out. But the Battalion doing a good job as well, making sure that no Erie Otter player has a clean shot at putting one by Robertson.
You know, there's going to be money on the board, so to speak, as well, if you're Stan Butler wanting your players to play extra hard in this one. And it looks like the Otters are doing just that, as this does not look like a mismatch yet between one of the best teams in the league and one of the worst. Tarasevic skates in the zone. He's knocked off the puck by Femus. Femus decides to go the other way. He did have a man ahead of him, but couldn't get it to go. Now a quick pass, roars! The Erie Otters get the first goal of the game as they beat Charlie Robertson. And that's Davio with the goal.
Well, Femus brings that puck in and a beautiful pass in between the legs. I believe that was Kennedy, Hislop, who was the defender there. Goes right in between his legs, and then just a shot right at the glove side of Robertson, one that I think he would have wanted to have back. And it's those kind of mid shots that are just above the pad that are getting by Robertson on the glove side. And you know that's going to be something that's kind of in his mind, as pretty much the exact 2 goals that he would have liked to have back in Mississauga, and all of a sudden Erie comes out to an early 1-0 lead 7 minutes in.
And get this, Davio's 3rd of the season. Seems about right. Winslow, I'm a Leafs fan, so I'm always pessimistic about things. Over to Winslow. Winslow up through the neutral zone, flips the puck down the ice, and then he leaves it for Davio, the goal scorer. Now, up the ice quickly, the Battalion pounce on the loose puck. Bloom sends it in behind the net. Coming away with it is Davio. Davio quickly up ice, and that puck went to Spence. Now the Otters try to flip it in. Now another chance here for Spence, but he loses the handle on it. And Bloom going the other way, throws it to Jackson. Jackson gains the zone, flips it off the boards to Bloom. Bloom goes cross ice looking for Van Steensel. Van Steensel falling to the ice, tries to play the puck deep into the Otters zone, and then is played away by Kulikov. Kulikov up the ice quickly to Cohen, and Cohen flips the puck in. Robertson out to play it. It's up to the near side half wall for Van Steensel. Van Steensel up to Bloom. Bloom tries to get it up to Arnsby, who just got a stick on it, and now going the other way is the Otters. Something the Battalion have struggled with the last couple of games is getting zone time and staying in the zone. And that's continued. Here is now a quick shot from McDonald from the slot, hits the glass behind, never really got a chance on the lawn. And now the Otters flip the puck back down the ice, and Lucan gives it away in front of his net. Another chance there. Oh my goodness, Caleb Smith was in alone on Robertson and just sent that one just wide of the net. Now McDonald into the Otters zone. Sends the puck in, and now they can't get a shot away as the puck's back out for Smith, but he couldn't get a handle on it. Now Johnston picks up the puck and throws it cross ice. The Otters with possession in the Battalion zone. That's Gil Martin. Gil Martin loses the handle on it, throws it up to Zito. The Battalion had a makeshift 2-on-1. Quickly out front, McDonald takes the shot in the lawn with the save on that one, and the puck is up and out of play. 10:28 left in this first period. It's 1-0 Erie.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that they're not able to maintain zone time, and it's something they kind of just seem to, they get the puck deep into the zone, and what happens is that a lot of teams are playing them where almost 4 guys are crashing in on the person carrying the puck in or dumping the puck in, and what's happening is the Battalion are not able to set up any sort of offensive zone presence at all, except on these transition plays, and that's going to be something that they're going to have to figure this out, whether it's in between periods or it's going to be practice in between games. But this has been happening for quite a while, and it definitely has been affecting their offensive opportunities.
Well, you mentioned it on the podcast this week that they're more of a second half team, and the Battalion are a lot better team when they score first. They're 25-0-1 when they score the first goal of the game, and then they have a losing record when they get the second at 10-14-1. So, as Katniss Everdeen says, the odds are ever in your favor. For the Battalion, maybe not so much on this one. That was a stretch. I'm so sorry.
Well, the one thing that's nice, though, is with the Battalion lately, they haven't been scoring first, but they've still been finding ways to win, especially against teams that are kind of weaker than them. So still a lot of game left to play.
Oh, yeah. We're only 10 minutes into this game, just over 10 minutes, I should say. We'll hear from Derek Lindemann coming up here at the mid-period break as well. And Nelson throws the puck in from the point, and that will signal our mid-period break. So we'll head into it with a 1-0 lead for the Erie Otters, and we'll be back on the other side of this. This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news, or access the Alumni Job Portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information. And we welcome you back inside North Bay Memorial Gardens as we try to bring Derek Lindemann into the program here. Derek, and I know that you and I have spent a lot of time between the benches when Stan Butler was here before, and you know he's a very vocal guy between those benches. You have to think, though, he's not being so vocal tonight. He's liked what he's seen so far through the first 10 minutes here.
Yeah, still pretty quiet from both benches here so far through the first half of this period. The boards, the glass starting to lean over a little bit behind the Otters bench, though, as he looks up into the stands. Kind of quiet down here between both benches. This doesn't look like the feel of a hockey game yet that the North Bay Battalion find themselves in. Kind of a slow start. They allowed the Erie Otters to get that first goal. Now they have to play from behind again, something that they've been used to this year.
All right, Derek, keep an eye on how things go down there between the benches for us as we move forward. We'll hear from you again as the game moves on. And as you heard, the bench is starting to lean already behind the bench. You have to wonder if Stan ever has to pay for the repairs on the Battalion bench, because that bench had a good 10, 15 degree lean to it by the end of his tenure here. I mean, why not be comfy when watching a hockey game, right? Everyone else gets to be. Cohen with a shot. Robertson knocks that one aside. Spence with it. Battling hard with Nelson. Back to the point for Sopa. Sopa with a quick shot. That one's turned aside by Robertson. We had a high stick attempt there by the Otters, but the Battalion touches, so now the play continues. Kulikov, Tarasevich, nice little pass to Wakely. Over to Petrov. Petrov looking in for Wakely. Trying to tip the puck in, and Kush couldn't get that one home, as now the Battalion battling for the puck on the far side corner. Coming away with it. That's going to be Sova. Sova with the puck. Lots of Battalion fans crying for a penalty there as Smith throws the puck on net. Sova tries to get a secondary chance, can't. And Winslow up the ice to Romani. Romani with the game winner against Barrie the other day. Last game we saw, actually. Now Therrien throws the puck in deep. And it comes back out to Winslow. Winslow tries to throw the puck in, finds Romani instead. Romani throws it up to Procession. Procession onto the near side wall for Therrien. Back to the point for Winslow. Winslow over to Christopoulos. Christopoulos fans on his shot. Decides to throw the puck in deep for Procession. Now Therrien, sharp angle. And square to the shot there was Alon. And so he turns that one aside. Shots on goal also favoring the Otters in the early portion here, 8-5.
Yeah, but once again, it's the fourth line that kind of gets things going there. And this time, Romani's actually on that fourth line as Van Stietzel gets kind of promoted a bit to the Jackson and Bloom line as Bloom moves over to right wing.
Must have something to do with that podcast.
I know. He's going to score. Therrien scored 2 goals after he went on the podcast. I think Van Stietzel's going to score here tonight, right here.
I would love to see that. Don't get me wrong. Jackson loses on the draw. Johnston knocks it in. Jackson comes away with it. One of the four. Jackson out front was looking for Bloom, couldn't find him. It's out to Lucan at the point. Now over to Kennedy, who takes a quick shot, and it's gloved down by Lalonde. And Jackson, one of the 3 holdovers on this team from the Stan Butler era, which is also Paul Christopoulos and Liam Arnsby. And Avery Winslow, who's out there as an overager as well, came a month after the promotion of Stan, and Ryan Houlihan taking over as coach. Puck thrown over off the draw. Van Stietzel back to the point. Gets it to Bloom. Bloom goes cross ice to Kennedy. A stick got in there, so it knocked it offside. Lucan flips the puck in cross ice. Now that's going to be Morton. Morton gets the puck up quickly, and that was Saginaw with it, who just throws the puck into the Battalion zone, and Lucan grabs the loose puck before losing it quickly to Alfano. Now back to the point for Johnston. Johnston with the shot blocked in front, and Van Stietzel finds the loose puck, tries to throw it up ice, and he does find Jackson. Now into the Otters zone. Johnston with the puck. Battling for Van Steensel. His pass quickly finds his man out of the zone, but Hislop picks it up in the neutral zone. Hislop to Lucan. Lucan cross ice looking for Jackson. Jackson can't get the bouncing puck to settle down. And then they send the puck back in deep with Hislop to chase after. Hislop stopping up behind his net. Looking for options as he slows things down. He has 2 Otters barreling in on him, but they both skate away. Quickly up ice now to Lucan. Lucan loses the puck. Wanted to go off for a change. And now he finally can as he nearly lost possession of it. But the Battalion do get it down to the Erie zone. McDonald battling with Davio. Davio sends the puck back down to the neutral zone for Nelson. Nelson to Zito. Zito walks in. Can't get the puck to go, though, as he eventually has it stick checked off his stick. And now going the other way is Femus. Femus. Puck back down to the Otters zone, and that was knocked into the Battalion end. But Nelson coming into the neutral zone. McDonald wanted to go into the zone, gives it to Wakely. Wakely walking and he scores! Dallin Wakely ties the game here for the North Bay Battalion. It's 1-1.
Okay, well, let's just pray that Ty Nelson got back on side there because he went offside for McDonald.
That's true.
Came back on, so I'm going to be holding my breath here. So we'll see, because this is going to be very close. But what a shot from Dallin Wakely, though. And these are the kind of goals that you hate to see if it does get called back. Nelson will be like, yeah, that happened to me last game. But what a nice shot to the blocker side. And this will be a very interesting game.
It's close.
It's going to be very close. And as soon as that happened, my first thought was to Wakely was, I hope he doesn't score here just because I think this is offside. But we'll see if there's going to be a challenge. But it looks like there's going to be no challenge.
So it will go as the 25th goal of the season for Dallin Wakely, who continues to impress in his second year here in the OHL. And you have to think some teams got to take a flyer on him this time around in the draft. I'm really surprised no one did last year. Winslow battling behind his net up to Petrov. Petrov tried to find Tarasevich. He's off his skate. And now Sova with it. Sova flips the puck down. Can't get it out of his zone though, but that's okay as Cohen picks it up. Cohen to the near side, or far side, gives it to Spence. Spence taking off the puck by Petrov. Petrov flexing his muscles there and gets it up to Wakely as it touches his stick and goes down the length of the ice. Sova flips it back down the other way. Kulikov picks it up. And now Procession has it. Now it's quickly out front again for Petrov, who just misses the net. Petrov with a snipe there from the face-off dot. Just couldn't hit Lalonde's net. Tarasevich tips the puck into the Otters zone. And now it's Johnston with it. Johnston up the ice, gains the red line, flips the puck in. Now it's behind the net. Johnston goes for a skate. Back out to the point for Smith. Smith takes the shot. Robertson gets it high. And the rebound comes out to Therrien. Therrien skates the puck up the ice, runs into his number 6 counterpart, Theo Artichuk. Throws him to the ice, but loses the puck in the process. Artichuk kicks the puck back into the near side corner, and now Paul Christopoulos has the puck. Christopoulos flips the puck up. They can't quite get it out of the zone. They finally do. And now Therrien has it into the Otter zone, flips it out front for Romani. Romani couldn't get a shot away as there's 2 Otters draped all over him. And now Davio throws the puck in around the end boards. Alfano keeps the puck in. Sent back in there was Sauter, and now it's out to Therrien, who tries to flip the puck down from the neutral zone, but can't as it's right back into the troop zone. Kennedy, far side half wall to Lucan. Quickly up the ice. Now that's Bloom with the puck. Bloom throws it in for Van Steensel over to Jackson. Jackson gains the zone. Good stick there by Davio. Knocks it off his stick. Now looking for the cross-ice pass to Bloom. Never got there as Alfano picks it off. 1-1 here with just under 4 minutes to go in this first period. Bloom flips the puck up for Van Steensel. Van Steensel gains the zone, takes the shot, and that one hit a stick and goes out of play. Again, 1-1 here between the Troops and the Otters.
Every time Van Steensel gets the puck, I just hope it goes in. What advertising would that be? Come on the podcast, score some goals after. It'll be fine.
It's funny, you see like the Madden cover curse or like the NHL, like or the Hockey News cover curse where the player gets injured.
Yeah, it'll be
It just seems anytime that someone comes on the podcast,
and Therrien has looked not a lot better, but he's looked very impressive since he's been on the podcast.
He has. Well, to borrow some words from Stan Butler,
you're welcome.
You're no longer a rookie after Christmas.
True.
And in this league, in such a short turnaround, it's true. And Therrien certainly looked the part, much like Van Steensel did last year in his rookie season. Flips it in, Kulikov. Knocked off the puck by Van Steensel. Tries to find Bloom. Can't get it to go, though, right away. As now Van Steensel has it. Van Steensel takes it behind the net. Back to the point for Hislop. Hislop cross ice for Ty Nelson. Nelson takes the shot. It's high off the glass and knocked aside. Now Hislop with it. Hislop knocked into the boards. No call coming. Much of Battalion fans' chagrin down at ice level. Now Bloom looking for Nelson. Nelson, who pinching in, couldn't get a shot away, throws the puck over to Bloom. Battalion with their first real zone possession here in this game where they put some pressure on. And now Kulikov knocks the puck up ice quickly, and Sova with it. Sova into the troop zone, takes a shot, stopped by Robertson, rebound chance knocked on to him as well. And now we get some rough stuff here between Hislop, who's never afraid to knock or to mix it up. As now we see a glove on the ice too, and Nelson in there as well.
Well, this is part of the hit that happened down on the other side of the ice. And McDonald, Josh Bloom on the playback called to have for a line change. McDonald hop on the ice. Bloom stayed with the play. McDonald had to quickly hop off the ice as to make sure he wasn't too many men on the ice. I think we're going to see some penalties here, probably to Hislop and.
Yeah, it looks like Hislop's going for sure.
See if there are coincidentals.
Well, they have 2 doors open down there.
So there's roughing. So I think it'll just be. It'll be interesting if it's 4-on-4, if it's coincidental, but either way, at least Hislop, who did get, obviously, kind of, again, with that hit down in the corner in the Erie zone, doing some pushing and shoving here.
It looks like the Otters are getting set for a power play.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to give him a penalty, just because Hislop kind of started it, I would imagine. It's probably
it's the Otters equipment that was on the ice, so whichever Otters player was, but
it looks like he might have hit it all. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard to see from up here, like what can happen in those scrums.
Also doesn't help that we're blind too, so I mean, eat your carrots, kids.
Yeah.
So here we are here with the Battalion will have their first penalty kill of the game, and we get a lot of boos here early for the referee crew by the Battalion 7th man. So on the power play this year, Erie is 17.9%, worst in the league. That's 20th overall. They've also given up 14 shorthanded goals. The Battalion, meanwhile, clipping along at a cool 87% on the penalty kill. That's number 1 in the league still, and they have 13 shorthanded goals for. Could be a match made in heaven here, but Femus at the point takes a shot. It is blocked down, and Femus tries to keep the puck in, and he does momentarily before it's knocked back out. Cohen gets the puck in for Terrace. Knocked hard into the boards. You almost think maybe there's going to be another call coming, but there wasn't. Back to the point now, kept in by Sova. Sova walks in, takes the shot, kicked aside by Robertson, and now back out to the point for Sova. Sova for Spence. Spence with the shot, knocked down by Christopoulos, who's a little bit hobbled by it. Cohen to Spence. Back to the point, Femus. Femus with the puck. Stops up, looking for some options. Decides to circle back and go back to the point for Sova. Sova cross ice to Spence. Back to Sova. Sova faked shot, and now he throws it in. It goes wide of the net. Arnsby battling on the near side wall. A couple of bodies collide there. Arnsby comes away with it, gives it over to Christopoulos. And Christopoulos sends it down the length of the ice. 30 seconds remain on the power play. 1 minute left in this first period. We're all tied up at 1 here between the Battalion and the Otters. Now Johnston up the ice. His pass knocked off a skate, and Davio just picks it up in the neutral zone, but he can't quite get past Winslow. And now McDonald grabs the loose puck and sends it down into the Otters zone for Lalonde to play the puck. 10 seconds remain on the man advantage. Hislop about to rejoin the play, and it looks like the Battalion will kill off this first power play opportunity of the Otters. Now 30 seconds remain. Puck sent in for Robertson. Robertson back to Nelson quickly. Quickly up ice for Jackson. It almost was too many men with Hislop jumping onto the bench. Now McDonald into the Otters zone. McDonald carries the puck in, knocked aside. What a save there by Lalonde as McDonald was knocked into the net now, and McDonald's going to have some words right in front of the referee as the net's knocked off its moorings. And McDonald had to shove Johnston a couple of times as well. 13.2 seconds remain in this first period.
Yeah, Johnston, I was wondering if there was going to be a penalty from that either, too, because obviously McDonald crashing the net there in the blue crease, but Johnston kind of pushes him into the net, which knocks the net off, and no call, though, with 13 seconds to go. So overall, if you look at this period, it's interesting because the Battalion, they haven't really played to their strengths. This has been kind of an even period where you think that they should be dominating at this point. And it's almost playing very similar to how they played against Barrie, except you're playing one of the worst teams in the league. And I think if you're Ryan Houlihan, you can't be too happy. If you're Stan Butler, on the other hand, you have to be very happy with this first period as you're going to go into the break tied at 1.
Back to the point. Morton loses it to Petrov. Petrov comes in, takes the shot, and that one's blocked as we're going to head to the first intermission here, tied up at 1 as the time runs out here in this first period. Shots on goal, 11-8 in favor of the Otters. And just to illustrate your point about Barrie and Erie, Ben, the Barrie Colts have 66 points. Erie has 37.
Yeah, and again, we've seen this. This is kind of sounding like a broken record at this point. First periods are not the Battalion's strength at home in the last 40 days or so. So I expect them to be, as soon as that 10-minute mark hits the second period, I expect this to be lopsided. But I think overall, the Battalion, not a terrible period, but not a great period either. And I think if you're Erie, you're very happy with that. And if you can play the next 40 minutes like that, I think you'd be a very happy team, but not if you're the Battalion.
Not at all. I mean, it's 1-1, thankfully, for the Battalion. They were able to come back with a great goal by Dallin Wakely. And it was going to be interesting to see if the Otters do get that 1-goal lead, if they try to play defensively like Stan used to like to do here for North Bay. Also, I should mention Mackenzie Campbell, the equipment manager who just walked off the ice, was also a holdover from the Stan Butler days. So he was in his first year with the team, actually, as well. All these guys are in their first year. But with that being said, we'll go to our break here, and we'll come back with Ben and Derek on the other side with your intermission show. As always, keep your eye on the front line.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lake. We have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
And welcome back inside Memorial Gardens, where after 20 minutes of play, the North Bay Battalion and Erie Otters are deadlocked at 1 apiece. Let's take a look at the first period scoring summary, as it was Alex Davio with his 3rd of the season at 7:29 opened up the scoring for the Erie Otters. Pano Finas with the lone assist on that goal. And then Dallin Wakely at 13:59 tie things up with his 25th of the season from Kyle McDonald and Ty Nelson. Only one penalty to speak of in that first period, and that was Braden Hisloff went off for roughing at 17:28. Shots on goal in the first period, the Erie Otters 11, the North Bay Battalion 8. Only that one specialty team to talk about, and the Otters are 0-4 on their one opportunity. two other games in the OHL this evening to talk about. First off, in Peterborough, the Petes have a 1-0 lead over the Ottawa 67s. And the other game tonight is in Windsor, and it's the Windsor Spitfires leading the Flint Firebirds by a score of 3-2. That is late in the first period of play. Let's look around the NHL and see how the Canadian teams are doing this evening. The Montreal Canadiens currently have a 1-0 lead over the Carolina Hurricanes. That's midway through the first period. And the only other game to talk about is later tonight, and it's the Calgary Flames host the Detroit Red Wings. It's a 9 o'clock start there in Calgary. Well, earlier this week, the Frontline Podcast was able to have Owen Van Steensel join our duel of Courtney Kenny and Ben Sargent. So let's hear a little clip of that interview now.
Just because I'm looking at the standings right now, you got the Barrie Colts kind of on your heels a little bit. They've been coming on strong since Brant Clark has returned to the lineup. How big was that victory Sunday in regulation?
No, it was great. Especially feeling kind of the different vibe in the room. Kind of felt more like a playoff atmosphere. But at the same time, it's nice when things are in your hands. They're starting to creep up on us a little bit. So I think everyone's scoreboard watching this time of year. So when you can kind of deal with it yourselves, it's always a nice thing.
How much do you like? I know you're obviously probably watching the 67s, considering you're right on their tail as well. But how much are you really watching the rest of the Eastern Conference fold out around you, being that you guys have been in control since like the beginning?
Yeah, we keep a pretty close eye. I mean, a lot of teams kind of loaded up at the deadline there, so there's a lot of really good clubs right now. So it's kind of fun to see how those big matchups play out and kind of see who's beating who. But end of the day, I think we got a good squad in our dressing room, and as long as we play our game, I think we should be all right.
Right now, if the playoffs were to start tomorrow, you guys will play an old friend in Owen Outwater in the Kingston Frontenacs in the first round. Tell me, how do you think a playoff series against Owen and the Frontenacs would go for you guys?
I don't know. They got a good team over there. Obviously, we played them in the playoffs last year. You can't count anybody out, but I think I like it.
Well, sorry for that. We weren't able to get the audio working, but we have Ben Sargent here in the first intermission.
At the same time.
As he's trying to do double duty tonight, as Ben Long is away sick, so Ben Sargent pulling double duties with the producing role, color, and the intermission content.
It for the next intermission.
We'll see if we can get that interview up for you in the second intermission. But North Bay Battalion came out a little sleepy, I thought. Didn't get that fast start and looked to play a little bit more passive in the defensive zone, trying to prevent shots getting through for Charlie Robertson.
Yeah, I think they played as you said, way too passive in that. And again, if you look at the way that they played against Barrie, they kind of controlled the game a lot more. They were able to create a lot more transitional game. They were able to keep the puck in the offensive zone more. And as Courtney said in the first period, it was very interesting because they just seem like they dumped the puck in. All of the Otters collapse where the puck is, and they're able to get it back out. And I think that's something that in this first period intermission, Ryan Ulan's going to have to figure out how to get this to work, because right now not enough offense. You look at the Wakely goal, that was just a really nice shot, but they just haven't been able to get enough of those chances for it to really make a big difference.
Yeah, and that just goes back to wondering if the goaltending has anything to do with how the team performs in front of you. I know from past experiences, some teams play differently in front of certain goaltenders, and maybe the Battalion are just playing a little differently in front of Charlie Robertson, but it's something that we've seen in the past, how Ryan Ulan has been able to make those intermission adjustments to come out stronger in the second period, and it's going to be interesting to see if they do come out stronger in that second.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be a much better period. As we talked about the Battalion, they're not a really good first period team lately, and you've been seeing it over and over again. The other thing is they have played down to the competition a little bit. Erie hasn't looked necessarily super sharp, but they're looking a lot better because the Battalion aren't playing strong enough hockey like they should be. When you saw, we go back to that Barrie game, it was a much closer game, it was a much better game because they were playing against a team that was very good in Barrie. We've seen this against Windsor, we saw this in a couple of opportunities, but when you look at a team like Erie, they should be all over them like they were against Kingston in that game when they went back to back to back. realistically, they're just not right now, and I think they need to have a strong first period. But you're basically at an even slate here. It's 1-1. You have 40 minutes to go. This should be a game where you're winning 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, and they've got to get that goal touch going, I think, in the second period.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's almost like they're clinching their sticks a little too hard and not getting the offensive going. No speed through the neutral zone. We did see that once on that Wakely goal. 25 goals now for Wakely on the season. That's an accomplishment for a sophomore.
Yeah, when you consider the fact he had 20 goals last year and he's able to now pass that mark by 5, he's probably going to end up his way to 30 by the end of the season with still about 2 months or a month and a half left to go or so. I wouldn't be surprised if he finds himself at the 30 mark, and I think you got to be really happy with that. Again, as you said, he ended up missing a season with COVID, and I think it's just one of those things where he's been very impressive, and I think he's looked very good, especially on that second line. Like, he's playing with guys with Petrov and Tarasevich, and he looks right at home.
This is the last time we're going to see this North Bay Battalion team on home ice for 2 weeks. The next home game won't be till March 2nd against the Sudbury Wolves. That's a lengthy time, but you know what? The North Bay Battalion still have 40 minutes here, and it's looking like it could be an exciting 40 minutes of play. Yeah,
I think it's going to be a very interesting game, and I think if you're Stan Butler and you go into this intermission, you got to be very happy with the way that Erie played in this game. They got off to the lead. They really kind of shut down the Battalion offensively, but I think this is another game where it's not necessarily Erie doing a great job. I think it's the Battalion hurting themselves and making Erie look really good because they haven't been able to create this very strong game that we've seen them be able to play time and time again. And I think it's, again, we saw this against Sarnia where they played from behind, and Sarnia is too good of a team for you to do that. But with a team like Erie, you can, but you still don't want to see that. And I would be, if I'm Ryan Houlihan, I'm not too happy with that first 20 minutes.
No, and if you're Stan Butler, you are happy with that one dead-even game here on the road, as this kickstarts a 3-game road trip for the Erie Otters as they make their way to Sudbury to take on the Wolves tomorrow, and then they'll move on to the Sioux to take on the Greyhounds. No emotion from Stan Butler, as we've seen lots from behind the bench, leaning on the glass, just looking around like he normally does. We know he's a very defensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
We've seen that in the first period as they've only given up 8 shots to the North Bay Battalion.
Yeah, and even when Stan was here, he was not the most emotional he was when he wasn't happy, but he wasn't the most emotional person in any other way, unless it was against the refs or the way his team performed. But as you said, he's a defensively minded coach, and you can see that he knows how this team plays. Like, he was in charge of Ryan Houlihan for a bit, right? So he understands that this team's going to try to carry the puck in, and what's he doing? He's attacking the strong side. He's getting 4 guys right on one puck carrier. He's not allowing them really good opportunities to get good scoring opportunities, and I think that's something that's hurting the Battalion. But at the end of the day, with the scoring prowess this team has, the speed this team has, they've got to be able to adapt and find ways, because when you get to the playoffs, teams are going to be playing you the same kind of way, and you've got to be able to adapt. That's the big difference with teams who win championships.
Yeah, we haven't really seen much action from the defensemen getting shots towards the net. We got to get that point involved. The North Bay Battalion haven't really been creating any offensive zone time to cycle the puck around. It's been a lot of transition game, get the puck in, take that one shot, and then back on your heels. And it's been the Erie Otters really carrying the play in that first period.
Yeah, and I think, again, when you look at it, it's a game where you can't be happy about the way that you played defensively. And another interesting thing, if you look at that goal, right, a really nice pass by Femus as he went right through the legs of Hislop. And again, Charlie Robertson, another goal he lets in on his glove side, which has been a weak point in his last game against Mississauga. And we're seeing that get exposed a little bit here. And we talked about how important it is for Robertson to have a good game, and you know those are the kind of goals that he'd like to have back. But overall, he still made 10 more saves in that period. But I think if you're Robertson, you'd love to have that kind of game back. And if I'm Erie, I'm shooting glove side pretty much the whole game.
Yeah, we saw that. That was a low glove shot just underneath the pad inside the post that beat Charlie Robertson as the winger was coming down that left wing side, shooting across his body, picking that low post area. But you got to have that if you are Charlie Robertson.
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of interesting, I think, with as you said, with Charlie Robertson, and we talked about how important of this game that it is for Robertson, as he's basically, if he doesn't have a good game here, I think this evening, it's going to be very tough for him to get into a lot of games, I think, down the stretch when every point matters. You talk about Ottawa, they're only 4 points behind. They're only 4 points behind Ottawa. Each game is so important, and the Battalion have been so close to taking the lead. They've been tied with Ottawa. They haven't been able to take over that lead, and I think if you're Ryan Houlihan, you look at this as a huge test. Now, might he get a game next weekend? I believe they're playing Flint next weekend. Will he play that Saturday game? Probably. You're not going to ask Divinchentis to play back-to-back game. I think, especially considering that I believe it's Sarnia and Saginaw that are in between that as well, if I'm correct. I can't really read the...
It's Saginaw, Flint, Sarnia.
Yeah, okay, so Saginaw and Sarnia in between, as it's kind of far away from me today. I think with that Flint game, Robertson's going to get another opportunity in there. But again, you want to have that confidence in your coach, in your goaltender, and I think with Robertson, he's got to prove that he can make that glove side save.
Well, nobody got the lead here after 20 minutes as we get prepared for the second period. With just a couple minutes left, the team's prepared to come back on the ice as it's the Erie Otters and the North Bay Battalion tied at 1 apiece here on the front line.
Special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
I nearly broke everything. Good afternoon or good evening. I don't know what time it is.
Why don't we have a producer today?
Sick.
It's really hard to do both these jobs
really
at once and trying to fix problems.
It really is. I know,
I'm trying to get that Van Steetzl thing to work next.
Well, we'll
intermission.
get it. I believe in you there, Ben. As we're back underway here in the second period, and a quick shot goes over the lawns net. As I'm Courtney Kenny, he's Ben Sargent. It's a 1-1 hockey game between the Battalion and the Erie Otters. As the Otters come in with some speed to the Battalion zone, take a shot, misses Robertson's net. Robertson falling in his net now. Not looking ever so graceful on that one. Johnston sends the puck in. Robertson kicks it to the side. In this period, the Battalion in their home blacks are going left to right, and the Otters in their road whites are going right to left. Of course, Stan Butler, the former head coach of the North Bay Battalion, now coaching the Erie Otters. The only coach of the North Bay Battalion before Ryan Houlihan. Day one employee. You don't see that very often. The Jays just got rid of theirs a few years ago. Paul Beeston. As now, Gil Martin through the neutral zone. Gets sticked to right. Christopoulos knocks it off. And now the puck's down the ice as it's offside. I think that he... oh, my goodness.
McDonald wasn't happy with it.
No, he wasn't happy either. As he would have had a pucker and a good chance there for a goal against the Otters. Now Sova going the other way. Sova with a sharp angle shot off the stick of Robertson. And now the puck's knocked out to the point. As now it's Davio, the goal scorer for the Otters, trying to get the puck in deep on the Battalion. McDonald knocking over his man. Maybe taking out some aggressions there. As Van Steetzl to the blue line. Goes cross ice to Arnsby. Arnsby with the shot. Fans Liam Arnsby had a golden opportunity there, just fanned on his chance. And now Davio looks to get the puck up the ice, and he does. Terrace now gains the blue line. Now it's over to the Otters. The Otters just back to the point, as that's Davio. Davio, who's been one of the more, one of the better blue liners here tonight for the Otters that we've seen a lot. Christopoulos tries to flip the puck up. They do get it out to the neutral zone, but Sauter knocks it back in. As now, the Otters once again with possession out front, all alone. Can't get a shot away. Spence had Robertson down and out, but Robertson just got a piece of it and was able to make the save and keep it at 1-1 hockey game. Puck nearly knocked out of the zone, and now it's Winslow with it. Winslow flips it in for Christopoulos.
Battalion getting away with one there, too, as Robertson was down and out.
Yes, very much for sure. Christopoulos through the neutral zone. Can't quite gain the red line, though, and now the puck just lays there before Davio laid down by Wakely. Now it's Petrov looking cross ice for Wakely. Wakely just out of his reach as he couldn't handle that pass. Now Kennedy throws it in. Tarasevich looking to knock it on net, couldn't quite get it to go. And now back out to the point, but the Battalion keep it in. Wakely on the near side, or on the far side corner, looked for the no-look pass. Otters, they anticipated that one and knocked that one aside. Smith now battling with Petrov. Back to the point for Kennedy. Kennedy looks to flip it back in, but Petrov can't quite get it very far. Now Wakely has it, the goal scorer for the Troops. Throws it in for Tarasevich. Tarasevich back to Petrov. Petrov walks the line, switches places with Kennedy. Looks to gain some zone time, gets it out front to Tarasevich. Tarasevich walked through the slot. Couldn't get a shot away, and now the Otters pick up the puck as Tarasevich stick-handled himself into, basically stick-handled himself out of position. Now the puck went all the way down the length of the ice for icing. And Tarasevich none too happy with himself as he went off to the bench.
I think there's going to be a bench minor here against Erie as they look maybe, or no, they're just allowing the line changes to happen there as they were, all the refs were converging over the Erie line as they, and unfortunately for Tarasevich, who gets that pass in the high slot, if that pass would have been to his forehand, he gets a great opportunity. Unfortunately, it's to his backhand and he has to try to get it on his forehand, and now they're really having trouble trying to get the right Erie Otters on the ice here.
As it looks like they do need the people change.
They were in the middle of a line change, and
I can see Stan yelling from the bench, so I know what that sounds like being between the benches before.
Looks like Blair has to get off the ice. So let's see if the Battalion can take care of some mismatches here.
Well, on the bright side, being the hometown team, though, you do have last change. As Smith throws the puck in, it's just wide of Robertson's net. I'm going to ask DiVincentis what it's like to watch from the backup seat here on the bench, because I don't think he gets to watch many hockey games. Not this year, anyways. He's played the vast majority of them. He's played 37 of them, so puck comes in, takes a quick shot. Robertson makes a save on that one. Nelson now in the near side corner. Throws the puck up the ice to Bloom. Bloom looks back into the middle of the ice for Jackson. Jackson, cross ice for Hislop. Up to Zito. Zito flips the puck in and chases after it. Now the Otters, that's Morton with it. Morton's a big body out there. You don't really notice it until you actually see him next to a guy like Zito. And now the Otters flip the puck into the Battalion zone. Nelson nearly gives it away, but he gets the puck back out to the point, and the Otters can't hold the line. Molnar knocked it in. And now it's Hislop who goes after it as it's a loose puck behind Robertson's net. Just under 5 minutes gone here in the second period. The score still tied at 1 apiece between the Battalion and the Otters. Nelson flips the puck over for Zito. Zito gains the line, decides to take a shot. Lalonde with a rebound. Juicy rebound. Good chance there by Jackson. Nelson got the first swipe, missed. And another chance there by Zito is talked aside by Lalonde. Nelson got the first chance, fanned on it. Then a good chance there by Jackson. Lalonde really standing his ground. Not really looking like a goalie who currently has an .854 save percentage.
No, he looked pretty solid. Those rebounds, though, were not the greatest. You talked about DiVincentis earlier, about him being on the bench here. One of the probably the biggest weakness on this team I can think of is the fact that the Battalion do have a rookie goaltender in Charlie Robertson, and we've seen that at times where that rookie part of him has come out. And even though he's had a really solid season so far, there have been stages of that where we've seen kind of the inexperience come out.
Knocked away by the Otters off the draw. Now it's Alfano who knocks the puck into the Battalion zone. Cristaldo's going to chase after it. However, That's going to be Spence that gets to it first. Spence battles for it, knocks it out to the neutral zone. Now Davio knocks the puck up into the neutral zone, and Winslow picks up the loose puck and carries it in. Winslow to Romani, takes a shot. It's off Davio's skate. Winslow now below the goal line, gets it back to Christopoulos, who takes a shot. It was nearly tipped into the net. Now Romani with a good wraparound chance, turned aside by Lalonde, and now Therrien throwing his body around behind the net. Quickly up ice for Gilmartin. Gilmartin leaves it, and now we get a shot by Sova, who just airmails that one over Robertson's head, and now we're going to get another stoppage here.
That's going to be too many men on the ice, I believe, against Erie, as the 6 was thrown up by the referee.
That's awkward because you know that's a penalty that usually looks bad on the coach. And who is the coach of the Erie Otters?
Yeah, and it's again, with the second period, you have your players right there in the offensive zone. And I'm surprised we actually don't see more of this. That just shows how easy it is to kind of get into those situations, as the referee right on that. And it looks like it's Saginaw who's going to be serving the bench minor there. And the Battalion, with their now 10th overall rated power play versus the 14th rated penalty kill, will have a chance to take the lead.
76.8 for the Otters against 21.8. To Jackson. Jackson tries to throw the puck in, can't. Now quickly over to Nelson. Nelson with a shot. Turned aside by Lalonde. Now McDonald throws the puck back to the point for Bloom. Bloom back to Nelson. Nelson twisting and turning, gains the zone, or gains some ground into the zone. Back to the point for McDonald. McDonald to Petrov. Petrov cross ice to Nelson. Nelson takes the shot just wider than it. He picked his corner and everything. Petrov cross ice to Nelson. Nelson flips the puck in for McDonald. McDonald throws the puck cross ice to Jackson. Jackson can't handle it, and he overskates the puck, and the Otters send the puck down. Just over a minute left as Robertson out to play it. Gives it away to Kulikov, and then he has to make a quick pad save, or else that you would have shown up on some blooper reels for sure. He was well out of his net. Now Petrov just gains the zone. Throws the puck in, and McDonald now below the line picks it up to Bloom. Bloom throws it back to the point for Nelson, to Petrov. Petrov throws it over for McDonald. It's picked off, and now going the other way is Erie. Terrence in the breakaway, goes, takes a shot. Robertson stops that one. Cross ice to Cohen. 30 seconds remain on the man advantage, and the Otters have possession in the Battalion zone. Nelson throws the puck behind his net to Wakely. Wakely didn't realize the puck was coming to him, and Cohen tying him up. 20 seconds remain on the power play. And for the last 20, 30 seconds now, it's been all Erie in the Battalion zone. Cohen loses it to McDonald, flips it up to Zito, and for the record, Erie has scored 6 shorthanded goals. The Battalion have given up 7 shorthanded goals. Wakely as we're back to 5-on-5 now. Into the Otters zone. Skates it out front, looks for it. Zito had Lalonde down, but couldn't get a shot away. Femus loses it to Romani. Romani throws it out for Wakely. Tries to throw it on net, can't quite get it on Lalonde. Now whacking away at the puck behind the net. And Wakely gives it away. And that's going to be Saginaw, who just spent that time in the box. And he throws the puck into the Battalion zone and goes for a quick line change. Christopoulos quickly up the ice for Tarasevic, and it missed him cleanly. So we'll get an icing call here with 11:32 left. And really, Ben, the Battalion started out on that power play looking great. Not so great towards the back half.
Yeah, and what happened was they got caught with, like, McDonald and Nelson were out there for almost the entire power play. They didn't get off the ice until there was 6 seconds left. So definitely a lot of tired guys as they weren't able to get that good change when Wakely, Zito, Romani came out. But overall, not a bad penalty, but power play. But as you said, they had their opportunities, but late at the end, they just got caught without getting a good change.
Davio throws it out front, and that was a good chance there by Cohen. And he just sent that one wide of the net. Cohen would have had Robertson at his mercy. Davio off to Sauter. Sauter fans on his pass up the ice. Now he does find it up the ice to Davio, and Cohen picks it up in the Battalion zone. Cohen knocked off the puck. Winslow knocked into the boards there. And now Terrence takes his man in behind the Battalion net into the boards. Battling away for it. still behind Robertson's net. The Battalion not giving up any ground here as Winslow falls on the puck, and now the puck's stuck behind him. Robertson finds it and just jumps on it to cover it with 10:42 left here in the second period.
Yeah, and overall, again, we look at the start of this period as we're getting near the halfway mark, and pretty much the same as it looks like Winslow's caught in the net. I think his skate is caught in the back of the net as takes a while to get him free. But overall, if you look at this again, this is another game where it feels very even matched. It feels like they're playing a team like Barrie or somebody like that. And obviously, if you're Erie, you got to be really happy. But the Battalion are kind of shooting themselves in the foot right now as they just haven't been able to dominate the game in the way that they should be. This should be like a 4-1 game at this point if you think about it on paper. And Erie's holding their own at this point.
Erie is indeed, as Zito gets the puck quickly up ice for Jackson. Jackson gains the blue line into the Otters zone. He loses the puck, though, behind the net, and that's going to be Saginaw who knocks that one back up the ice quickly for Alfano. And now Johnston picks it up before a big hit there by Lukin. Throws his man down into the boards, and now the Battalion race down the ice with Bloom. Bloom over to Jackson. He just passes it off with his skate to Zito. Zito tries to get the puck in deep, but loses it to the Otters. Now Morton going the other way. Gets it up to Gilmartin. Gilmartin gains the zone. Good stick there by Nelson. Knocks him off the puck. And now Wakely throws it up ice for Zito. Zito. Cross ice for Bloom. Bloom back cross ice for Hislop. Hislop takes the shot. Long got a piece of that one, and it's wide. And down for Gilmartin to chase after it. Gilmartin leaves it for Sova. Sova takes a shot blocked by Hislop. And it's back to Morton at the point. Morton throws the puck cross ice. Petrov picks that one off and sends it up quickly. And now Tarasevich gains the zone. Tarasevich looks to go cross ice. Is kicked away there by the Otters. And now Wakely with a shot from the point is blocked aside by Lalonde, and it just sits there on the ice, and he covers that one up. So we've reached our mid-period break here. We'll hear from Derek Lindemann on the other side of this.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news or access the alumni job portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
Okay, Derek, I know you're between the benches. We talked about it, or we joked about it in the first time that we called down to you. But we can hear them from up here now on the Erie Otters bench yelling from down there. How about you?
Oh, you can hear it. That distinctive little voice coming from the Erie Otters bench as he's trying to get his players' attention to keep going skating. You know what? Both teams are starting to get involved in a little bit of chirpiness between the two players, between the two benches, and it's starting right from the get-go, but the North Bay Battalion have seemed to take over this game at the first part of the second period, but still have not been able to solve the goaltender in the net for the Erie Otters tonight.
No, Lalonde's having himself a great period, or a great game for sure. Thanks, Derek. We'll hear from you more as Petrov with a quick shot from the point. Luke Bruskowski's turning 20. Chris Dawson is turning 29 once again. The general managers of the Powassan Voodoos, who had his birthday yesterday. Nice to see them be able to spell those guys' names right on the billboard.
Same age as me.
Yeah, as the puck is knocked out of play. 8:59 left in the second period. Still tied 1-1.
Yeah, and overall, again, when you look at this game, it's just the Battalion need to find something to get going here and score. I don't think they want to go into this third period tied at 1-1. You want to at least go in with a lead, and we talked about how good they are leading. They pretty much, it's almost a lock when they lead after two periods, so you'd like to go in there up 2-1. I think there's something like 10 1-1 or something like that.
26 1-1.
26, I was close. 10.
You were in the double digits.
Yeah.
Up to Romani. And now it's flipped over. The Battalion trying to get it out. However, if they're trailing, they're 1-13.
To be fair, I'm like far away from all the numbers.
Yeah, it is.
So.
And we've already established neither of us can see.
I can't see anything.
The Battalion are, however, if it's tied, the Battalion are 8-0-1 when tied at the end of the second.
Yeah, and that just shows how good they play third periods. And we talked about this a little bit in the intermission, and I think we talked about it too over the periods, but Stan Butler's a great defensive coach, and we're seeing that with Erie, and that's something that we're seeing today is Erie's playing a very good game in their defensive zone. They're blocking passing lanes, they're blocking shots, they're keeping the Battalion offense to the perimeter when they have the opportunity, and you got to give a lot of credit as well to this Erie defense. And the effect that Stan Butler has put on them so far in the 4 or 5 games he's been head coach.
And as we've mentioned, they will obviously want to win this one big time for their coach. Put a good impression on them. As now bowled over in the corner, that was Arnsby knocking down Davio. Liam Arnsby, the Mack truck comes through. McDonald with the shot. Lalonde turns that one aside. Man, what a hit by Arnsby. Arnsby just throwing his weight around here. And he's going to go back to the bench. Black and blue, I'm sure, after this one. It's now a sharp angle shot by Arnsby. Comes out front. And Alfano turns that one aside. Christopoulos in the Battalion zone. And now we're going to get a penalty for interference. Oh, no.
It's going to be McDonald?
No, it's going to be Avery Winslow.
Yeah, Avery Winslow, there you go. So McDonald going in towards the penalty box and was a little confused there. But we've seen McDonald take a couple of runs at guys where the puck's nowhere close to them. Usually when tempers are flaring, like they did after that big Arnsby hit. And again, if you look at Erie, nothing going on the first power play so far, and we'll see if the Battalion maybe get a shorthanded opportunity. One of the things they do so well is their speed, and we've seen guys like Tarasevic and Bloom, as it'll be Van Steetsel and Arnsby out there from the offensive standpoint, trying to get something going.
Spence to Sova to Femus, back to Sova at the top of the point. To Spence back to Sova, cross ice for Femus in, sharp angle shot. Robertson just got a piece of that one. And we'll get a quick whistle there and another scrum after the whistle as Robertson just hung on for dear life on that shot.
And you know that, Temper, I guess, as you said, Temper's definitely flaring here. Van Steetsel kind of getting into it in front of the net. And we've seen that a little bit more from the Erie side, where Lalonde will save a shot, and it'll be the Erie's kind of getting into it. So we're seeing that on both ends. Robertson getting a little bit lucky as that one almost squirted by him. But after that first goal that he gave up that he'd like to have back, he's definitely looked good in the other 13 shots he's faced.
16-14 are now the shots in favor of the Battalion. And behind the net, that's out to Femus. Femus goes cross ice to Spence, and the Otters knock the puck out of the Battalion zone. And Sova has to bring it all the way back to his zone to regroup. Sova over to Spence. Spence leaves it for Terrence. Up quickly now as Bloom gets tripped up. No call coming there. And Tarasevic just throws the puck back, and that will be too many men on the ice for the Battalion. And it just goes from bad to worse. They miss a call there that would have helped the Battalion. And then the Battalion immediately take it too many men.
You kind of got the sense that Tarasevic thought there was going to be a penalty called, because he kind of stopped around the blue line, and then he made an ill-advised pass, and this Memorial Gardens crowd not too happy. Stan's probably, he's got a little bit of a smile going on over there, as it looks like it will be
I've never seen Stan Butler smile in my life.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, his version of a grin, I guess. Petrov will be the one serving this bench minor, but yeah, not a great pass from Tarasevic, and now all of a sudden it's going to be 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 7 seconds. And if you're the Battalion, this is going to be a big part of the hockey game here with 7:11 to go in the second period.
Yeah, 1 minute and 7 seconds of 5-on-3 hockey.
That's too many men on the ice penalties now. One for each
Both
team.
coach, yeah.
Don't see that very often.
Nope, Nelson knocks the puck down the ice, and it will get to the Otters zone as Davio can't keep it in. Lalonde plays it at the slot for him. 50 seconds remain on this 5-on-3 before Winslow will step back on the ice. Davio stopping up when he gains the blue line. Goes cross ice. That's Sova. Sova with the puck. Back to Davio. Davio for Sova. Takes the shot. Blocked there by Arnsby. He stopped that one-timer. Back to Sova. Looking for another one-time attempt. Back to Davio. Davio walking the line. Gives it to Sova. Another chance. It's blocked in front. Now the Battalion scrambling as the puck goes in under Robertson. And we're going to get another save here as the puck kind of rolled in under Robertson. And now we're going to get a bit of a scrum here with Arnsby knocking the helmet off of Davio. And we'll have to see if any penalties come from this.
Well, yeah, and again, if you're the Battalion, you don't want to get into too many penalty troubles here as you're already down 5-on-3 for another 2 minutes, or sorry, another 22 seconds. As, again, Robertson having to get on the seat of his pants to try to fix that one out. And he's looked very good in those kind of scrambly situations, keeping the puck out of the net, and that's been a big help for the Battalion. And again, we talk about him being a rookie goaltender, and some of these goals that are going by like kind of the mid to high glove side of the net, and those are your kind of your learning moments. And I think for the most part, Robertson has looked really good in those kind of high pressure situations.
Cohen to Femus. 15 seconds remain on the 5-on-3. Femus cross ice. Sova doesn't take the shot. In deep there for Cohen. Or Spence, cross ice for Femus. Back to Sova, takes the shot. And that's just wide of the net. Spence battling with Nelson. And we're back to 5-on-4 now as Nelson has a stick knocked out of his hand. Winslow, like a bat out of hell. Back into the play here for the Battalion out of the penalty box. And now it's going to be Winslow who picks it up and throws the puck down the ice. 40 seconds remain on the bench minor in which Matvei Petrov is serving for the troops. Up the ice, Femus. Loses it to Christopoulos. Christopoulos sends it right back down to the Otters blue line where Sova keeps it in. Lukin throws his man into the linesman. And now the puck goes all the way back down into the Otters zone. 20 seconds remain on this penalty kill, and you're kind of getting the vibe as to why the Otters have the 20th ranked power play, because they couldn't score on an extended 5-on-3. Terrence knocked it in, and now it's out front quickly, and there it is though, as if I was jinxing it. The Otters on the power play as Kerry Terrence is going to put the puck in the net, and rather it looks like it's Molnar leading the charge, but I believe it was Terrence who had it.
Yeah, it looked, unless it got tipped somehow, Terrence was right there in the high slot. And again, he goes glove side on Robertson, though you can't really blame him on this one, as it was a really nice shot. The issue was the Battalion, nobody was around him in the kind of closer to the blue line part of the hash marks, and he's able to just, in that prime goal scoring area, puts one by Robertson, and all of a sudden it's 2-1 with about 4 seconds left on that power play.
Battalion now finding themselves in a bit of a hole here as Terrence with his 22nd of the season, and Nolan Lalonde having the game of his life so far here in this one.
Oh, we've seen that a lot, though, and I think this
is this like the North Bay syndrome or something like that?
I think this is a thing where it's not necessarily that Erie's playing amazing. It's not necessarily that Lalonde's playing amazing. A lot of it's just the Battalion aren't playing to the level that they need to play. We haven't seen that Battalion team. We saw them against Barrie. Even though Sarnia wasn't their best game, we did see a better Battalion team against the Sting. And this is, again, where we talked about them playing down to their competition. They seem very even. This should not be an even game. This should be a game where the Battalion are all over the Otters, and it's, again, one of those things where the Battalion have to figure it out.
They can't keep playing down to their opponents. That's the worst part about this team, easily. As now the Battalion are going to draw a penalty. That'll be Jack Hennigan making the call there. As now Kennedy has the puck, throws it up for Jackson. Jackson up to McDonald. McDonald loses the puck momentarily. Gil Martin just touched it briefly. So we'll get the Battalion heading to the power play here for the second time this game. And for Jack Hennigan, the North Bay referee, you have to think he's feeling the heat a little bit from the fans here.
A little bit, yeah. Alfano there was a clear trip on McDonald in the Battalion line. As this is going to be a very important power play. 4:42 to go. You do not want to go into that period down by 1, and here's a perfect opportunity to get that goal back.
Nelson with the puck as the Battalion immediately start in their own zone. Decides to go behind his net and set up. As now he goes with some speed up to the blue line, leaves it behind for Jackson. Jackson gains the blue line, throws the puck against the boards, gives it away immediately, and surprise, surprise, the Otters send the puck down the ice. Robertson behind his net in the trapezoid, throws it around the end boards to Nelson. Nelson cross ice looking for Petrov. Petrov back to Jackson. 1:25 remain on this power play. Jackson, the Battalion have yet to really have any zone time. Jackson looks to throw across ice, and they give it away, but the Otters cannot get it down the ice until they finally do. 5 seconds so far on the power play that they've had zone time. As now it's Nelson. Leaves it back for Petrov. Petrov will try this again. Leaves it for McDonald. McDonald gives it away, and right back down the ice we go, as the Battalion will have to play this behind their net. 55 seconds remain, and now we've seen a change in personnel out there on the power play as McDonald leaves the puck for Winslow. Winslow, see if he can figure out the Otters' defense here as they just stand up 3 wide at the blue line. Sends the puck in deep, and now it's going to be Terrence who sends the puck right back down to the Battalion end and Robertson's going to play it quickly up the ice for Arnsby. Arnsby throws it to the middle of the ice for Zito. Zito hooked up, no call, gives it away. How many seconds have we gotten so far on the offense here for the Battalion? I'm going to count less than 10. Wakely behind the net. Leaves it for Winslow. 15 seconds remain on the man advantage. Wakely through the neutral zone. Leaves it at the point for Arnsby. Arnsby throws it in for Wakely. Wakely over to Winslow. Tries to get a shot. Can't. Zito. Backhand on net. Wakely. Back to Arnsby. Arnsby over to Winslow. To Wakely. Wakely takes the shot. Misses the net. And now we're back to 5-on-5. And the puck's out for Alfano. Alfano down the ice. Can't get anything going, though, as he throws the puck in backhanded and just misses the net. Alfano leaves it for Femus. Femus shoots. He scores. 3-1 the Otters lead. Are you kidding me?
Well, again, he goes glove side here on Robertson, as we talked about how that's been a struggle for him. And 3 goals all on the glove side against Charlie Robertson. And not a good sign if you're Ryan Houlihan. And again, we talked about the faith that he must have in Robertson at this point. Is he hasn't really gotten into a lot of game action. And again, Femus now his second point of the game, as he has an assist on that first goal. And now if you're Erie, you're up 3-1. And if you look at that power play for the Battalion, they kept trying to throw stuff through the middle of the ice. They were trying to throw stuff down, and they didn't have a good chip and chase game. And next thing you know, they come right out of that power play, and Alfano kind of sets up this play that Femus is able to kind of throw on right in on Robertson and make it a 3-1 game.
Lukin up to Tarasevic. That's also Femus' 13th of the season. 2 minutes left in the second period. And now Tarasevic falls, leaves it for Procession. Procession can't get a shot away, as the Otters have done a very good job of clogging up the middle of the ice, and yet the Battalion keep going for it. Saginac takes the shot. It's now 4-1. The Erie Otters go ahead. Dom DiVincentis looking down at Ryan Houlihan, and it looks like he's going to ride it out with Charlie Robertson.
Well,
Goodness.
Well, again, he goes, where does he go? He goes glove up top on the glove side, and Robertson now 4 goals all on that glove side. And yeah, it's got to be hard right now because he knows that that's been a tough spot. You got to give credit to Erie, though. The Erie shooting there where they need to go, and these are saves that I think you have to make. And Robertson just is not seeing that puck at all on his left-hand side. And if you're the Battalion, it's now 4-1, and you've got 22 minutes to find 3 goals. It's possible, but with the way they're playing, they're going to have to play a lot better hockey if they want to find 2 points here tonight.
So we talked about it earlier. The Battalion are 1-13 when trailing after 2, which is more than likely what they're going to be doing here. So it'll take a bit of a miracle here for them to hopefully make that 2-13. As the Otters now find with a minute and a half, up 4-1. As a Leafs fan, we know it's possible, but my goodness, this has been just utter falling apart here in the last few minutes since that power play. You're supposed to gain momentum from a power play, not lose momentum. Milan out behind his net to play it. Now it's going to be Terrence. Terrence up to Spence. Spence gets around Nelson. Spence takes the shot. Winslow's stick falls out of his hand. And now Nelson, who looked absolutely silly by Spence on that one. Puck cross ice. It's going to be Molnar now with it. And that's Savinac with the goal. 7th of the season. Up to Femus. Femus loses the puck. 1 minute left here remaining in this period. As now Femus gets the puck back to the blue line. Can't get it to go anywhere. Zito throws the puck up ice and he gives it away. This is just what is happening right now. Bloom. Now it's back to the Otters as Sador tries to knock that one in. And Kulikov keeps it in. The Battalion can't even get out of their zone here at the last minute. Jackson cross ice to Zito. Zito knocked off the puck. Goes back, knocks it back around. Is now Jackson being held. No call coming. Come on. As Jackson had a bear hug around him. Now it's Bloom. Bloom with 4 seconds left. Takes the shot from the point. It's blocked. And then we'll end this period with the Battalion down 4-1 against Stan Butler and the Erie Otters in what has been an absolute collapse in the last 5 minutes of that period.
Yeah, as you said, they gave up 3 goals there. And again, these are 2 points that you need to have when you're a team that's good as the Battalion are, and they're trying to find their way to that East final and that OHL final. So it's going to be a very interesting third period. This game's not over yet, but they need to find their legs here in the next 20 minutes if they want a chance.
Find their legs they must. As we go to break here on the front line, Derek Lindemann will rejoin Ben Sargent and try to break down all the traumatic events that just happened in the last 5 minutes of that period for the Battalion. And we'll be back on the other side of this.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
And welcome back inside Memorial Gardens, where the Erie Otters have scored 3 unanswered goals in the final 5:15 of that second period and take a 4-1 lead into the second intermission. Let's take a look at the scoring summary in this second period. At 14:45, Kerry Terrence, with his 22nd of the year, got the Erie Otters back into the lead. Andre Molnar with the assist on that power play marker, and then it was Pano Finas with his 13th of the season at 17:35 from Alfano and Davio. And then it was Colby Saganuk rounding out that 3-goal explosion by the Otters from Liam Gilmartin and Alexis Davio at 18:08. Couple penalties in that second period as each team picked up a too many men penalty. First, it was the Erie Otters called for too many men at 5:52. And then Avery Winslow went off for interference at 11:56. And then the North Bay Battalion picked up their too many men penalty at 12:49. And finally, Sam Alfano went off for tripping at 15:18. Special teams look like this. Erie Otters 1 for 3 with the man advantage, and the North Bay Battalion still 0 for 2. Shots on goal in the second period, the Erie Otters 7 for a game total of 18. The North Bay Battalion another 8 for a total of 16. 2 other games in action this evening on this Thursday as the snow starts to fall out here in North Bay. Down in Peterborough, the Ottawa 67s have scored in the second period. That game is now deadlocked at 1 apiece, and the Windsor Spitfires still holding on to a 3-2 lead. Just a couple minutes left of that second period down in Windsor. Wow. Ben Sargent thinks he's got it up and ready, so let's hear that interview now as Owen Van Steensel joined Ben Sargent and Courtney Kenny this week on the Frontline Podcast.
Just because I'm looking at the standings right now, you got the Barrie Colts kind of on your heels a little bit. They've been coming on strong since Brant Clark has returned to the lineup. How big was that victory Sunday in regulation?
No, it was great, especially feeling kind of the different vibe in the room. Kind of felt more like a playoff atmosphere. But at the same time, it's nice when things are in your hands. They're starting to creep up on us a little bit. So we're always, I think everyone's scoreboard watching this time of year. So when you can kind of deal with it yourselves, it's always a nice thing.
How much I know you're obviously probably watching the 67s, considering you're right on their tail as well. But how much are you really watching the rest of the Eastern Conference fold out around you, being that you guys have been in control since like the beginning?
Yeah, we keep a pretty close eye. I mean, a lot of teams kind of loaded up at the deadline there, so there's a lot of really good clubs right now. So it's kind of fun to see how those big matchups play out and kind of see who's beating who. But end of the day, I think we got a good squad in our dressing room, and as long as we play our game, I think we should be all right.
Right now, if the playoffs were to start tomorrow, you guys will play an old friend in Owen Outwater in the Kingston Frontenacs in the first round. Tell me, how do you think a playoff series against Owen and the Frontenacs would go for you guys?
I don't know. They got a good team over there. Obviously, we played them in the playoffs last year. You can't count anybody out, but I think I like our chances, but we got to come to play every game.
How exciting would it be for you guys to get to first place though and take on those Wolves in the first round matchup?
That'd be a great series. You know, they play hard and they're a tough team to play against, and I think that'd be a really cool rivalry series. And yeah, you know, climbing to first would be huge, and but we'll see how the rest of the standings shake out.
All right, enough about these playoffs. I'll let Ben ask his highly anticipated questions that he's been waiting forever to ask.
Well, this one's a new one actually. Obviously Thursday you guys are playing Erie, which is kind of a special game because former coach Stan Butler is coming back. Is there any sort of buzz in the locker room about that at all? Because I know a couple of guys have played. Obviously, he was let go around like I think it was December 2019. So is there any buzz at all in the locker room about that game?
A little bit. You can kind of feel the intensity ramp up. That could be just time of year or the schedule coming up, but I mean, there's not that many guys left here that played for him. Obviously, I didn't get a chance to play for him. But yeah, no, it's an exciting week, and hopefully we come out on the right side of that one too.
Yeah, I think Arnie and Christopoulos are the only holdovers from that time, which is wild to think about how much turnover there is in this league. Go ahead, sorry, Ben. I didn't mean to cut you
Oh,
off.
well, speaking of Arnsby, I was going to ask like, so obviously he missed about a month of action, right? And you guys have been you've played good hockey, but there's also been a little bit of it where you've played more kind of better in the second half and had some slower starts at the beginning of the game. How much has Liam Arnsby kind of affected? How much of his impact has been coming back into the lineup as you guys came out and beat Kingston 9-1, and then you kind of had a good game against Sarnia, but then a much better game against Barrie?
Yeah, no, he's a big energy guy for us. I think everyone in the arena can tell kind of the difference when he's in the lineup, and especially other teams. That's another guy they got to worry about. But he just plays so hard and is such an easy player to play with on a line, and he just brings kind of that identity piece that we talk about all the time in our room.
Sweet. So, well, we talked too about this year is kind of interesting because you guys had a very good year last year. I think it took a lot of people by surprise getting all the way to the Eastern Finals. And this year, it feels like your roster is going to be a lot different going into next year potentially. And it's kind of almost like the window of opportunity to make kind of a Memorial Cup run. Is there a sense of urgency at all within the team to kind of make a deep run, or is that not really something that you're thinking about?
I think there always is. I think last year there was a bit of that too. Obviously, losing Coe and Russell hurts a little bit, but we also brought in a lot of good guys to kind of make up for that. But yeah, just the turnover every year is kind of crazy to see, the guys you play with and then don't get to play with. So yeah, I mean, a lot can happen in a year, but I think if there's a year to do it, it'd be this year.
Yeah, for sure. So just talking about you for a second, in U16 AAA, you put up 62 points in 33 games. Then you lost the season to COVID. And then what was the biggest challenge going from U16 to the OHL? And the second part of this question is, what was the biggest lesson that you learned from last year that you brought into this year?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing from playing AAA to the O is just the pace and the size of players. Everyone's a little bit bigger, faster, stronger. So you notice your time and space gets taken away really quickly in this league. And then even from last year to this year, just being more comfortable on the ice, more comfortable in your position, more comfortable with your teammates and stuff. It was nice that we had such a close group last year to build into this year, and we had a lot of returning guys, which makes this year so much easier. And I don't know, just being more comfortable in the organization and kind of living away from home for a little bit longer, it all kind of just works out really nicely.
And we're back after that little bit of a tidbit from Owen Van Steensel, as our Ben Sargent and Courtney Kinney sat down with him this week on the Frontline Podcast. You can find the Frontline Podcast anywhere you get your favorite podcast, whether it be Apple Podcast, Spotify, or Google Podcast. You can even catch the full episode here on the Frontline YouTube channel, right where you're watching or listening to this Battalion hockey game. While Ben Sargent, 4-1 deficit, the North Bay Battalion find themselves in against the Erie Otters. Not the last quarter of the second period, let's say, that the North Bay Battalion wanted there.
Yeah, coming right off that penalty, of course, with they come off a power play. The next thing you know, it's who is it but Erie coming down the other side, and then they ended up getting a goal, as I believe it was Terrence who got the first goal. And it was 3 goals, all to the glove side. Actually 4 goals this game, all to the glove side of Charlie Robertson. And you got to feel a little bad for him, because you can tell that's something that's kind of been bugging him. And I think if you look at those last 2 goals, or like really all 4 goals in this game, those are saves that you've got to make. I think if you look at it, if you're the Battalion, you look at it and kind of say, well, Dom probably makes those saves for the most part. And I think it's not entirely on Robertson, but I do think there is a sense of he'd like to probably have all 4 of those goals back.
Do you think there's any reason to make a goalie switch after the first 40 minutes?
I think it's tough. At this point, it's 4-1. Can you come back in this game? Absolutely. But the question you have to ask yourself is, do you want to burn 20 minutes worth of Dom DeVincentis, knowing that he's going to have a big workload? Especially, and I don't think this is going to happen, but he might be that back-to-back game. I don't know.
It's going to be a tough 2 games this weekend.
Yeah.
You're in Barrie. You know how tough they played here on Thursday night, that 4-2 victory. It's an interdivisional game, and then Ottawa 67s on Monday. 2 tough games that the North Bay Battalion want to put their best effort out for.
And it almost feels like you need these are 2 points you don't want to give up at all. But at that same time, saying that, I think it's a game where you kind of almost concede that 20 minutes, hope that Robertson can kind of get you to that goal line, and hopefully, again, you can't put this all on Robertson at the same time. This is also the Battalion not putting up goals in their own way. They're not putting up offense themselves. They're not getting these great chances, and they're making Lalonde look very good. Not that he's looking bad, he's looking good, but the Battalion aren't really making him make those highlight reel saves. He hasn't had a lot of, out of the 16 shots he's faced, they haven't really been that hard to stop for the most part. Erie is doing a great job not allowing any of those cross ice passes at all. They're clogging up the middle, and the Battalion just haven't gotten any really great shots.
Very reminiscent of a Stan Butler defensive first Erie Otter team. One of the features we like to do here on the front line is catch up with our players to watch after 40 minutes, as those players are brought to you by Mike, the financial advisor.
Players to Watch is brought to you by Mike, the financial advisor. If you have financial questions, he has financial answers. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Mike the FA.
While our players to watch have both found the score sheet, the Erie Otters player Panoffinas recording a goal and an assist in those 4 Erie Otter goals, and Ty Nelson picking up an assist on the only goal for the North Bay Battalion. So those 2 players have come to play tonight, but Ty Nelson, I don't even know if he's recorded a shot this game yet.
He's definitely recorded a shot towards the goal, whether it's been, I believe it's 1 shot on net. He's definitely had a couple of shots on the power play where they've tried to hit the net, but he just hasn't been able to get there. And again, if you look at the Battalion, it feels like they're just trying to force these cross ice passes. They're trying to force this game. And you got to give a lot of credit to Erie. They're shutting it down, but at the same time, the Battalion, we talk about them playing down. This should be a 4-1 lead for the Battalion. It should not be a 4-1 lead for the Erie Otters. And when we're talking about them trying to get Ottawa, and if let's say that they don't catch Ottawa because of 2 points, these are the kind of games you can look back to at the season and say, man, those are 2 points we should have had.
Yeah, this is possibly 2 points they should have had. But we're just moments away from the return of the third period when Courtney Kinney will rejoin Ben Sargent here on the front line, as it's the Erie Otters leading the North Bay Battalion 4-1 on the front line.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
And we welcome you back inside North Bay Memorial Gardens, where the North Bay Battalion find themselves climbing Mount Everest, down 4-1 after 40 minutes of play. Dom DiVincentis now in net for the North Bay Battalion, as Charlie Robertson has taken a spot that we've seen him in so often in the backup spot behind the benches. Now he has to watch on and hope his teammates can claw themselves out of this hole that they dug for themselves late in that second period. I'm Courtney Kenny, he's Ben Sargent.
Yeah, me and Derek were literally just talking about this before the game on the ice. And are you going to burn 20 minutes of Dom DiVincentis, knowing what you have coming up this weekend with Barrie and Ottawa? So it looks like Ryan Ulan is not throwing in the towel here. He thinks his team can come back, and we'll see. They got 20 minutes to find 3 goals at least.
Also interesting to note, Ryan Ulan came out to the bench, sat down, or came to the front of the bench, wanted to talk to the referees, and the referees refused to go over and talk to him. As now the puck quickly up the ice for Van Steen, so the Battalion in their home blacks are going right to left in this period. The Otters in their road whites are going left to right. And even though, yeah, they've let in some really bad goals tonight, the team as a whole has not played well in front of their goalies.
Well, that's another thing. When you look at like the Charlie Robertson, obviously his glove side's been weak, but you can't. The offense hasn't done really much for him either on their side. They have not been able to generate much. Only the Dallin Wakely goal earlier in this first period.
Speaking of Wakely, with the puck now, loses it as Femus and Wakely battle for it. Wakely gets it back into the Otters zone. The Battalion need an early goal here as they send the puck down behind the net. DiVincentis out to play it. Plays it up to Petrov. Petrov goes cross ice looking for Tarasevic, and that was too hot for him to handle as he's taken hard in the boards by Davio. Now it's back to Wakely. Wakely takes a sharp angle shot. And just to put this in perspective again, Nolan Lalonde with an .854 save percentage coming into this game and a .435 goals against average, looking like Marty Brodeur in net for the Erie Otters. Davio along the near side half wall. Gives it to Sauter. Sauter now knocked up as Lukin sends his man down hard into the boards. Now Lukin's going to get into a fight here as 2 Otters players jump him. And now there's a couple of punches going back and forth, as now the fight is happening and they're trying to keep him away from the downed Otter player as Lukin's battling hard. Couple of big haymakers there as he's going into it with Sauter. Sauter being knocked around. Davio also, who had his gloves down, and now they're going to have
now they're going to call the
Andrew Satchku, the Battalion trainer, out to help out as well.
They're calling the stretchers over as
stretchers immediately.
Yeah, as I believe that's Cohen that's down on the ice there.
No, that's Sauter, I believe.
Oh,
or
was
no.
it? I thought
Sauter fought.
I thought it was 13. I believe it's Cohen. It's hard to see from up here, as we could only see it on the
Mackenzie Campbell, also the equipment manager for the battalion.
And Lucan catches him with his head down. It'll be interesting to see if Lucan's going to get a penalty here, as not that it was necessarily an intended dirty hit. It was just his head was down, and Lucan sent him headfirst in the board, and they're going to bring the stretcher out here. And not a good news if you're Erie, and no matter what fan you are, you never want to see this kind of stuff happen.
Yeah, stretcher coming out now as the paramedics make their way across the ice.
Sauter will go into the penalty box.
He has not moved whatsoever from the ice.
And whenever stuff like that happens, you always think spinal injuries, and the first thing they teach you in any sort of first aid is not to move anything, as you never know the extent of the injury. Very similar to how concussion protocol works, is they're going to open up the door that's right beside where he ended up in the corner, and hopefully
I believe there's a doctor out there now.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
Hopefully Cohen, if that is Cohen, which I believe it is going to be okay.
Getting back to the mess that it is on the ice, though, Lucan leveling a hit, and he gets jumped by 2 Otters. You have to think there's going to be a penalty there. I mean, Sauter is going to get the penalty for sure for fighting. You ever think that Davio is going to get another penalty or something, because he dropped his gloves too and went at Lucan.
Yeah.
Before he saw Sauter kind of going to town, then he kind of eased up. And now we're going to see the stretcher as they get the boards underneath him now.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with Lucan. You got to think that there might be, especially with a hit like that, you might see like 10-minute maybe game misconduct potentially. Whenever you see kind of dangerous hits in this situation.
Honestly, the hit itself, I didn't think there was anything wrong with
I
the
think
hit.
it's
He just
his
caught him
head.
with his head down.
Yeah, but again with this league, especially when they're younger, they usually kind of are on the side of caution for the most part. So I don't think there was any ill intent from Lucan. It was just there as the. We'll see if.
We'll hear from Derek Lindemann momentarily as he's getting some on ice messages right there. As the whole Otters bench also down on one knee out in front of their bench here as they wait for the player to get back up, as we welcome Derek Lindemann back into the show here. And Derek, what's the word down there? I don't know if you can really hear us or what's going on, but what's going like? We're having technical difficulties here. Ben Sargent is fired.
It's not connecting.
As the
oh, there we go.
There we go. Okay,
Derek,
Derek, can you hear us now? We get the thumbs up. Derek, what's going on between the benches there? Scary incident on the ice here for the Otters.
Yeah, not much going on between the benches. Both benches are in a little bit of a somber mood here at the moment. The Erie Otters now have all been gone on the bench off the bench onto the ice to pay attention to their teammates. There's no word going on down here. Neither official, both linesmen have been over here, and neither one said that either way was a clean or a dirty hit. They're just not happy with what they saw and knew it was serious as soon as he laid there motionless. I'm not even sure exactly who it is down there on the ice right now.
We believe it's Cohen who's down on the ice, but Derek, as somebody who has a lot of experiences, it looks like they're getting ready to put him on the stretcher now. Maybe we'll ask you this question a little bit later, but it's really, I mean, not that there was much wind or momentum in favor for the battalion anyways, but it really feels like this sucked the wind out of the building.
Yeah, it definitely has sucked the wind out of the building. I was talking to Pano Phoenix and from the Erie Otters about how, if he saw it or not. He said he didn't see it, but he knew it was really serious when he knew that the air in here really went quiet all of a sudden. He knew that it was not the best for his teammate, and both benches rushed quickly to the aid of the player down on the ice.
Derek, with your experience, sorry Ben, you were going to say something. I just completely cut you off.
No, I was just going to say we know for sure that it is Cohen that's down
Okay.
on the ice there, as we got confirmation from the head office guys here from the battalion.
Okay, perfect. Derek, I know, you have a little bit more experience on the official side of things with the fight that took place with Lucan and of course Sauter, Davio as well dropping the gloves. What do you think is going to come through with on the penalty side of things? Do you think Lucan finds himself in some more serious trouble?
I don't think he's going to be in any serious trouble. He was just dealing with the receiving end after the initial hit. Saunder, got the worst of that fight. He had a little bit of blood coming from the facial area as he came in to, kind of stand up for his teammate Elias Cohen that went to the ground, and can't really do much about it because from here it looks like it wasn't the worst hit overall. But
I didn't.
Cohen going in, we'll get probably the instigator, and we'll have to see what else comes out of that one.
Yeah, because Davio dropped his glove. Like 2 Otters players dropped their gloves for the fight, and then it just ended up being Souter that ended up fighting. So I thought for sure anytime that a player drops their gloves, that's an automatic 5 minutes.
Yeah, this might be a different circumstance where nothing really happened with the initial Erie Otter player dropping his gloves. He kind of didn't really get involved and kind of let Sander deal with it to himself. So I don't think they're going to really call much on that extra person involved there at the moment.
I know you and Ben were talking about it there during the break, but surprised to see Dom Divinchentis back out there in net for the troops?
I am surprised, as we talked about, that we know it's going to be a long weekend with being in Barrie and then on Saturday night and then back in Ottawa on Monday. So maybe the extra 20-minute rest might be needed. But, again, maybe Coach Ryan Houlihan thinks that if they get off to a quick start that Dom could keep them in this game and maybe find a way to claw back into this game. There's still just over 18 minutes left.
Yeah, it's a 4-1 lead, and as you know, we've seen with the Maple Leafs, it's not an insurmountable loss. But with the way Lalonde's been playing, you got to think it's getting tougher and tougher as the game goes on, especially when any and all momentum that you may have been gaining has now been sucked out of the building for both sides.
Yeah, and as we know, seeing past Stan Butler teams is how he really likes to shut down defensively, especially in the third period. I think the Battalion are going to have a really tough time to try and penetrate the 5-man unit, and more than likely will be set up in front of Lalonde right in that goaltending area.
Looks like they're getting the stretcher finally ready now as they've been taking off pieces of Cohen's equipment, and you got to think this is going to shake the Otters bench to the core as there's the doctor right now talking to the bench.
Yeah, I can't really hear what they're saying, just more hearing the conversation between Bemis and the linesman as the player now up on the stretcher. So all the Erie Otters have gone over to surround him as he prepares for exiting off the ice.
Lukin clapping from the penalty box as well. You have to think that the big Russian doesn't mean to hurt anybody like that, especially with that. He's just trying to make his check. And as you said, and I agree, I don't think it was the most vicious of hits. I think he just caught him with his head down.
Yeah, he kind of caught him on that back shoulder and kind of spun him around, sending him into the boards a little awkwardly. And that was getting the worst of it as the doctor now going over the talk to the North Bay Battalion bench. We'll have to wait and see the severity of it, but we probably won't have any updates on the Erie Otters player anytime soon.
No, but I mean, what can you say about both benches springing into action? I've heard when we've had Mackenzie Campbell and Andrew Satchke both on the podcast, both of them say, as much as there's teams on the ice, the off-ice crews, when it comes to trainers and equipment managers, are all one big team, and they really showed it here today.
Yeah, exactly. Satch really quickly to answer the call. Didn't wait even for the direction from the Erie Otters bench. He jumped out there right away. As soon as he knew that it was more serious, as the referee's now coming over to talk to the doctor, and we'll have to wait and see what happens out of this.
Well, they've already put 2 minutes up on the clock there for Souter, Ben, and Derek. As it looks like the Battalion will be going to the power play according to the score clock. So we'll have to see if that's what holds or if there's something more severe coming down.
Yeah, that's probably that 2-minute instigating penalty that we talked about.
Well, as we saw last time, Derek, the Battalion didn't really do much on the power play, and then they kind of really had the wheels fall off of them there after the power play. You have to think that the Battalion are going to come out with a better effort here on the man advantage.
Well, you definitely hope so. This is probably one of the first gasps if you want to try and cut into this 3-goal lead, is try and get something on this power play as the referee is still trying to convince Stan Butler of what's going on down here.
Well, as you know, Stan Butler not really the most friendly when it comes to refereeing when you're down there between the benches. And now the doctor hopping back onto the Otters bench as well. They're looking to talk to, I don't know if he's looking to talk to Stan or somebody, but you have to think that, the Battalion are going to get their chance here, Derek, and we'll have to see if they're going to have a chance here. But we'll hear from you more as the game goes on later on Thank you again so much, Derek, for joining us here on the front line from between the benches throughout that scary incident there. So the Battalion will find themselves on the man advantage here, and like Derek said, with the first good chance to try and get back into this game.
Yeah, it's going to be this is going to be a big penalty as Lucan kind of doesn't get any sort of boarding penalty or anything from that hit. So obviously the referee's thinking it's clean. I still don't think there's going to be anything after the game either. I don't think he has to be worried about any sort of suspensions or anything with no call in front, but something that we should always keep an eye on just in case going into that big 5-game road trip they're going on. But as you said, if they're going to score, they need to find a goal here. Also with that instigator, Otters also going to get that 10-minute misconduct, which is a automatic misconduct when you have an instigation penalty.
And Lucan not getting anything other than the 5 minutes for fighting, which, you definitely want him down the stretch in this game, especially if you start to come back. Nelson out of his zone. Quick one-touch pass to Jackson. Jackson into the Otters zone, takes the shot. Lalonde makes a stop there. And they already have one more shot than they did on their last power play.
Yeah, and Cohen, of course, got that opening goal. Correct me if I'm wrong. He scored the opening goal for the Erie Otters. As that's going to be a big loss for them as well, as he's had a very good game so far on that second line with Terrence and Spence. And, yeah, if this comes down, obviously already up 4-1, but if this comes down to a closer game, unfortunately for the Otters, that might be a big loss for them as well.
Cohen with 15 goals, 14 assists so far on the season for the Otters, so he's one of the top point guys for the Erie, as Petrov keeps it in, but only momentarily, and the Otters send the puck down the ice. Divinchentis out to play the puck, 1:27 up on the man advantage as Nelson starts out in his own zone. Nelson to Jackson, up to McDonald. McDonald throws the puck in blindly, and once again the Otters stop things now, and now we're going to get another penalty here for high sticking, as the Battalion are going to have to take advantage here. The Otters had a long 5-on-3 in the second. Couldn't score until the second half of the penalty, but now the Battalion, and the shoes on the other foot here for the Battalion.
Yeah, it's Captain Cameron Morton who's going off for the high stick. Just the 2 minutes, but here you go, 5-on-3 opportunity. Again,
you have to score.
You have to get a goal here. As it doesn't start off good as they win the face-off, but it goes back into the Battalion zone. And you've got to get a goal here early on if you want a chance to come back in this hockey game.
Petrov in his own zone. Through up the blue line. Flips the puck in. Chases after it. Sends the puck around. And that's going to be Femus who comes away with it. And Femus sends the puck down. So even 5-on-3, it doesn't matter. The Otters get the puck, send it down the ice. 45 seconds remain on the 5-on-3. Nelson into the zone. Stops up. The Battalion looking to set things up. Over to Petrov. Petrov. Back to the point for Petrov to Jackson. Jackson back to Petrov. Cross ice for McDonald. 30 seconds remain. Battalion fans looking for them to shoot. Over to McDonald. McDonald with the shot. Rebound drops down, and the shot, the Otters get the loose puck and send it down the ice. Divinchentis out to play it. Leaving it for Petrov. 15 seconds remain on the 5-on-3. Nelson gains the zone. Can't gain the zone as the puck's back to his own blue line. 10 seconds left. Divinchentis urging his boys on. Jackson nearly loses the puck. Skates it over to Petrov. Petrov flings it in. Now we're just to a 5-on-4. McDonald back to Nelson. Nelson taken hard. Back to Bloom. Bloom takes a shot. It's off his stick and well out of play. So the Battalion let one power play go without looking overly dangerous on a long 5-on-3.
And you can say what you want about Stan Butler, obviously, with kind of a colored history here in North Bay, but he knows how to play defense, and you can see that in this game here with Erie. They're playing a very strong defensive game against the Battalion. They just feel like everything Battalion are doing, Erie seems to know how to counter it.
Well, Ryan Houlihan is his protege. Quickly over to Zito. Zito with the one-timer. It's blocked. Now in deep. The Battalion, they get it! There it is. Anthony Romani from behind the net beats Nolan Lalonde. It gives the Battalion life here on the power play.
Well, this is a shot that goes on the side of the net, and Lalonde is kind of out of position here. Romani sees it, and he just takes a look and says, I got a wide open net here right at the side, and he finds, he kind of just puts it in, and that's a huge goal here. 4 minutes into this opening period, a power play goal. They get the goal that they need on these two power plays. And now all of a sudden, it's a 4-2 game. 2 goals in 16 minutes isn't a hard thing to necessarily get. And one thing the Battalion do is after they score, they get a lot of momentum, and we'll see if they can carry that momentum here to maybe another quick goal in the next 5 minutes or so.
Anthony Romani matching his jersey number in goals this year at 15. And this year at this time, he had just scored his first couple at the beginning of February. Sent in deep. The Otters with the puck in their own zone, being harassed though by Procession. And there goes any momentum the Battalion would have had as Procession takes a penalty. And to be honest with you, that's something that Erie has gotten away with all game long, that holding.
Yeah, Procession puts his arm around the Otters player to try to play the puck, and he's going to get called there. We've seen a couple of these. I believe there was one against McDonald. There have been a couple that haven't been called against the Battalion, and yeah, the fans are not too happy about this. So the good news for the Battalion, though, is they do score. They got 13 shorthanded goals, and we'll see what happens here in the next 2 minutes. But obviously, when you're trying to score 2 goals, 2 minutes is going to kill a lot of time off the clock.
Well, the 20th ranked power play did score a goal earlier this game against the number 1 ranked penalty kill. Back to the point for Sova. Sova can't get a shot away, stops up, gives it to Femus. Femus walks the line, carries it in, looks for the shot, gives it to Sova. Sova goes to fake the shot, then to Femus. Femus shot, a bit of a knuckleball from the point, nearly goes in. Now it's back to Sova, back to Femus at the point. Sova keeps it in barely, sends it in deep, and that's Molnar. Molnar walking in, leaves it back quickly for Terrence. Terrence, cross ice, back to Sova. Sova with the shot, misses the net. Stick for the Battalion, that's Hislop, breaks, and now Molnar battling for it behind the net as the Otters come away with it. Minute left on the man advantage here. Terrence walking away. Goes cross ice to Molnar. Back to Femus. Femus with the shot. And a big save there by DiVincentis, who gets it right in the chest and stops that one up.
Well, I believe that's the first shot DiVincentis has faced in this hockey game, I think, that actually went in on him. And unfortunately for Hislop, his stick breaks out of nowhere as it just demolished in his hands. He didn't even touch the puck or anything. And he's able to get Van Steetzel's stick, who Van Steetzel's able to go to the bench, get another one, and almost a break for Erie with Hislop losing his stick.
Davio goes cross ice. Now the Otters, less than a minute left. A good chance there by DiVincentis' kick to the side. And now the Battalion looking to counter on the shorthanded man advantage. Nelson sends the puck down the ice. Zito with some speed gets to the puck first, but Davio pushes him off the puck. Now Zito behind the net battling for possession. Keeps it up against the boards. Taking a whole lot of abuse from Davio. A round of applause for Zito though. And now the Otters get the puck up quickly, and that's Saganyuk who gets the puck through the neutral zone. Kennedy flings it back to the blue line. Can't get it very far though. 15 seconds on the man advantage. Back in on the far side wall. Sharp angle shot, nearly tipped in net. And it isn't, as it goes to the corner though, is now it's back to the point. Johnston. Johnston's pass, get off to the side. Now the puck's back to the blue line as the Battalion with Procession are back off the man advantage, back to 5-on-5. Kennedy thrown to the ice. No call coming there. Ryan Houlihan and the bench incensed as most of the calls have gone in Erie's favor here this evening. Bloom couldn't get the puck. Well offside. Kulikov not called. And then they get a shot there. My goodness, it is a comedy of errors here if you're in zebra stripes tonight. Bloom through the neutral zone. Up ice quickly for McDonald. McDonald trying to power his way through, tries to get a shot, and it's just wide of the Lawns net. 13 minutes left. The Battalion trail by 2. It's a 4-2 game in favor of the Stan Butler-led Erie Otters. Back to Jackson. Jackson looks to go front for Petrov. He would have had a wide open net, but he couldn't get a shot away. And now we're going to get a penalty here. We'll just have to see who it's going against, although I believe it is against Erie. Although Petrov talking to the referee there.
Yeah, it looks
Lukin
like,
also out of the box now as well.
Yeah, it looked like, I think it was on Petrov got hit. McDonald, though, I got to give him a lot of credit. He looked like he was going to start some sort of roughing there with
and then he gave it up real quick. He gave it up,
which was kind of smart. If it looks like it's going to be the captain going back again for the Erie Otters, as that's Cameron Morton. The second time this period that he's taken a penalty, and we've seen Arnsby do this a couple of times for the Battalion where you're up, but you take a couple of bad penalties, and not a good look on the captaincy, but another chance for the Battalion here. You want to get a goal in this. If you can get a goal here on their on the man advantage, now you're only a 1-goal game with about 10 minutes left to go.
Starting with the secondary unit here as Armsby comes in for the faceoff. And why not? They scored last time. Armsby wins it back to Winslow. He just barely keeps it in the line. Cross ice for Petrov. Or Zito. Winslow to Wakely. Wakely looks to send the puck in deep, can't, as Winslow pinches in and keeps it in barely. Now it's back to Winslow. Winslow looking for options. Slows up on the near side half wall to Wakely. Wakely cross ice to Zito. Zito back to the point for Winslow. Winslow to Wakely, takes the shot, he scores! Dallin Wakely brings the Battalion to within 1. His second of the game.
What a nice shot by Wakely as he's calling for that puck as Winslow finds him and he's giving the crowd a little let's go, a little pump up. As what a shot right on the inside part of the crossbar, glove side on the lawn, and now all of a sudden it's a 4-3 hockey game. There's 12 minutes to go. And this game is very much in line as another power play goal here for the North Bay Battalion.
Dallin Wakely with his 26th goal of the season, his second of the game. When in doubt, 14 it out? I don't know.
You tried. But it's all of a sudden, it's a brand new hockey game here. With
Wakely, it's eggs and bakey. I don't know.
Not even close. Never say that ever again.
I'll go back to my police jokes if you want.
I would rather the police jokes.
All right. Roxanne would put up with my police jokes. So the Battalion back to within striking distance. It's 12 minutes left in this third period. Dallin Wakely, the goal scorer here, number 1 star for the Battalion. You have to think, out front, Tarasevich couldn't get a shot away. And now the Otters have numbers going the other way. Coming in is Terrace. Terrace takes the shot, goes for the wraparound, and they can't get it to go, as the Battalion somehow keep that one out from behind their net. Wakely up the ice to Petrov. The Battalion have numbers. Petrov looked to not make the shot, tried to look off the lawn, and then he does get the shot. And now some rough stuff after the whistle there as the lawn stops that one.
And you know emotions are going to be a little bit high because of that hit on Cohen from Lucan, even regardless of whether it was intentional, it wasn't dirty, whatever you want to call it. You know that the Otters are going to be a little bit higher. And if the Battalion come back in that game, you know that Erie's not going to be too happy about that hit even more, considering how, that happened less than 2 minutes into the first period. Third period, and it kind of has changed the dynamic of this game a little bit. But if you're at the Battalion, again, don't take stupid penalties here. Don't take these bad roughing penalties. Don't get involved. You have momentum. Take advantage of it.
This third period's ice is tilted in the favor of the Battalion thanks to some man advantages here as Molnar gains the zone into the troop zone. Out front, they can't get a pass away. Hislop chips the puck up. Another chance comes in. Divinchendis is just going to cover that one up. With 11:14 left in the third period, the Otters still hold a 1-goal lead at 4-3.
And very much like the Mississauga game, a game when they played in Mississauga where they didn't play the greatest. Robertson in net there gave up 5 goals. 4 of those 2 of those could have had back. You look at this game as well, he's given up 4 goals. Probably should have only let in maybe 1 or 2 of those. These are a couple of games that it's interesting with Ryan Ulan deciding to go with Robertson here tonight, when he didn't really have to, maybe just trying to get Robertson some action, and might come back to bite the Battalion, though.
He hasn't played in the game for the troops since January 20th. His last official game was the Top Prospects game out west.
And again, Robertson's looked good in flashes, right? Like, we've seen him, he looked pretty good at the end of December, sometimes in January, but his last few games, he just has not been the same player.
Well, you have to think that that Robertson's going to get pretty cozy on that bench for the next few games, especially with Barrie and Ottawa this weekend, like you guys have mentioned. Winslow battling for it behind his net as the puck is lined up against the wall. A couple of Otters players there battling for it. Now Christopoulos comes away with it. Christopoulos sends the puck into the neutral zone. Otters get it quickly back, though, as Zito picks off the man, and now he goes for a skate with it. Zito up ice. Artichoke tries to get the puck, can't get it too far. Now McDonald for the Otters throws a hit on Winslow, and now the puck cross ice into the Battalion zone. Behind the net as Bloom plays it over to his defenseman Winslow. Winslow to Zito. Zito stops up and gives it to Winslow. Winslow through the neutral zone, gains the red line and throws the puck in, and he'll go off for a quick change here. Kennedy, 9:38 left in this period. Kennedy just throws that one back in, and an Otter player had to play dodgeball with it as it was coming for his head. As now Morton behind his net with the puck. Morton slowly out from behind his net, gets it up to Devio. Quickly up to Femus, and the puck is in deep. Divinchendis out behind his net to play it. Lucan picks it up, and Wakely comes in and gets the loose puck, but gives it away to Femus. Femus gives it back to Wakely. Wakely now through the neutral zone. Gains the zone, sends it back, and then the Otters regroup with the puck. Can't get the pass to go out to the center ice area. And now it's out front. Femus can't get a shot away. And now Wakely goes the other way. Wakely stops up, gives it to Petrov. Petrov tripped up, no call coming. And Petrov's now down on the ice. Petrov just laying there. The Battalion bench again incensed as now Smith comes in, takes a shot. And now we get a whistle finally. Matvey Petrov on the near side corner. And now Andrew Satchkew's running back out on the ice again. He's getting his steps in here today, as we'll talk to Derek Lindemann here as well. And Derek, I don't know what's going on down there, but this game's starting to feel more and more like a rivalry game now.
Oh, sure getting quite that feel. It was Matvey Petrov taking a stick up high in the face there. You're not really sure where it caught him, but as he was trying to go around the defender, and the stick got up there underneath the visor, so hopefully not much worse there, as Petrov is bleeding from the nose, so he did get caught with a high stick as he was spitting out blood coming across the ice. But we're going to hit the midway point now, so let's hear from our period sponsor, Ben.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
Tonight's 3 Stars is brought to you by Dave's Automotive Services, 411 Airport Road in North Bay. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect from Dave's.
Well, Derek, since the Battalion got back to within a goal here, how are things now between the bench? You were talking about how it's starting to feel a little bit more like a rivalry game, but what's it like down there right now?
There's not chirping between the benches, but you can really see the momentum really start to pick up for the North Bay Battalion. They really want to get this third goal in this period to get back on even ground. They're trying hard to get this game leveled up after trailing by 3 going into this third period. And you know what? The Battalion look like they have something to prove tonight for head coach Ryan Houlihan.
Well, you have to think that as much as the Otters might want this one for Stan Butler, the Battalion, even though they didn't play for Stan Butler, want this one for Ryan Houlihan, Derek.
It definitely feels that way down here. And really, you can see it. Wakely trying to motivate the group as he came back after that last goal.
As here we go now, Kyle McDonald in with a chance. He shoots. It's knocked away. As there, the Battalion had a gorgeous chance there. And now Torrance getting all alone on Divinchendis. And he's taking off the puck. Thank you very much, Derek. We'll hear from you again as we're wide open here after coming back from our little timeout. McDonald looks to get a tip for Arnsby. Arnsby just wasn't there in time, and now a chance from Christopoulos. Misses the net, and McDonald picks it up. 8 minutes remain here. Kyle McDonald with the shot. Can't get that one on net, and he picks up the loose puck, tries to drive the net, gives it to Arnsby in the far side corner. Arnsby back to Christopoulos. Christopoulos back in for Arnsby. Arnsby, cross ice for McDonald, takes the shot. Lalonde square to that one. Stop that one up. Now Winslow back at the point. Avery Winslow walking the line, gives it back to Arnsby, who throws it on net. Lalonde looked awkward on that one, but he still made the save. All Battalion here since that drop of the puck. As this Winslow at the point, back in for McDonald. McDonald takes the shot, looking for Winslow, who is pinching. But Winslow wasn't there in time now. As Terrence now with a big hit. That's Arnsby knocking him down. As the captain really trying to get the Battalion back in this one. In for Bloom. Bloom chips the puck back for Zito. Zito in for Jackson. Back to the point for Lucan. Lucan keeps it in. Goes for Bloom. Bloom covers the ice. Goes back to Nelson. Nelson tries to skate around his man. Takes the shot. It's wide of the net to Lucan. Lucan taking hard into the boards as well. And gets it in. Zito in the near side corner. Gets it back for Bloom. Bloom with a weird shot. And it's just knocked aside from the lawn, and now we have an injured Otter player as well down there. Now it's Molnar. Molnar carries the puck in, takes the shot, misses the net. Morton off the ice under his own power. And it's back to Nelson. Nelson knocked hard off the puck, and the puck's back out to the neutral zone. 4-3 Otters lead. Don't go anywhere yet. Kyle Jackson takes the shot, and it's just wide of the net. 26-25 are the shots also in favor of the North Bay Battalion. As now the Otters try to slow things down a little bit as Sova has the puck behind his net. Loses it to Zito though, and Zito flings the puck back into Erie territory. Kulikov up to Sador. Puck knocked back in. Wakely chasing after it, looking for the hat trick. Kulikov throws the puck up the ice. Femus gets a hold on that one as it's on to the far side corner, and Christopoulos sends it down the ice. That's going to be Johnston. Johnston with it. Throws the puck up the ice. Christopoulos stops in the neutral zone and throws it back in. The Otters can't get possession of it though as Tarasevic gains it at his blue line and gives it over to his teammates. Now Petrov with it at the neutral zone. Matvey Petrov skates the puck in. Looked to get a shot away, but he had his stick knocked off the puck. And now down to Winslow. We'll have to keep an eye on Divinchet to see when he leaves the net. As Arnsby now tries to throw the puck on net. He finally gets a cross ice for Winslow. Winslow couldn't keep the puck from bouncing off his stick, however. Winslow in deep for Tarasevic. Arnsby comes in for help. And now the puck gone to Sova. Cross ice. The Battalion to Winslow. Winslow at his blue line. Sends it up for Nelson. Nelson quickly to Romani. Romani loses the puck, and then the Otters send it right back to the neutral zone. Back out front, or back into the neutral zone now. Winslow knocks the puck down the ice, and Sova stops up with it. 4.5 minutes remain in this third period. The Battalion still trail 4-3, but it's Jackson at the Otters bench. Jackson knocked off the puck, but McDonald gets the loose puck and flings it right back into the Otters zone. Lalonde behind his net to Sova. Sova up ice quickly for Smith, and Smith just flings the puck in and goes for a quick change. To Nelson. Nelson gets to McDonald. Back to the point. Kulikov takes a shot. It's well wide of the net, and Zito looks up ice quickly for a pass to Nelson. Nelson to McDonald. McDonald throws the puck into the Otters zone. 4 minutes remain here in this third period, and the Battalion can't hold the line. That's going to go down into the Battalion zone, though, and icing is going to be waved off. Lukin with the puck slowly behind his net. Just under 4 minutes remaining here. Over to Christopoulos. Christopoulos back to Lukin behind the net. Lukin setting things up with his teammates. Leaves it for Zito. Pasquale Zito quickly up ice looking for Wakely. That's going to miss him, and that will go for icing. So now the Battalion will have to defend an offensive zone draw here for the Otters.
Yeah, and this is a game where it's almost too little too late, it seems like, for the Battalion, as they find two goals here in this third period, but they're trying to push for that tying goal. They're trying to hit that, trying to get at least overtime here, and again, you can look at this game and say, well, Robertson should have had this save, but at the end of the day, the Battalion just offensively did not play well enough in the first 40 minutes, and unless they can get something going in the next 3 minutes, that might come back to haunt them.
Lukin chips the puck off the glass. It's going to go down the length of the ice. And we'll get another icing call here against the Battalion.
So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting 3.5 minutes here, and obviously Divinchento's holding his own. He hasn't faced too many shots, but 7 shots here in this 7 or 8 shots here in this third period. But he hasn't stayed tall when he had to, and more importantly, though, the Battalion need to find some sort of offense here.
And now they might get a chance as Davino blows a tire in his own blue line, but the Otters get to the puck first anyways. And now it's going to be Saganuk. Saganuk looks for a pass quickly over to his teammate, but Winslow picks it up before Wakely grabs it at the blue line. Wakely, with 3 minutes left, sends the puck down and on the lawn. He just misses the play, and now Kulikov gets to it and sends it up ice quickly. Rather, it's stuck at the near side half wall, but Kulikov picks up the loose puck and goes down the length of the ice. Kulikov spinning, gets it over to Alfano. Alfano into the zone. Takes the backhand chance. Divinchentis stops that one. 2:45 left here in this third period.
And of course, still it's Sauter there who's still serving that 10-minute misconduct for the 10-minute and the 5. Sorry, so because they don't run concurrently. So he's been off the ice for 15 minutes or so as he's almost near the end of his time served, but still 17 minutes, so he'll be back with a minute to go. Long time to be missing a guy out there as well for that third period.
Jackson in for the draw with Femus as Kyle Jackson loses the draw, and Morton throws the puck into the corner. Alfano battling with Winslow. Jackson comes in for support, and now it's up ice for Nelson. Nelson gets it to McDonald, who goes cross ice for Petrov. Petrov, 2.5 minutes, takes the shot. It's over Lalonde's net. Puck comes out, takes a weird bounce off the end boards, and now Femus tries to gain the Battalion zone, takes the shot, turned aside by Divinchentis, and then a rebound chance there was denied there by a Battalion defender. Petrov, just over 2 minutes remaining here in this third period. Gets it back out to the point. Nelson knocks the puck up ice. Can't get it too far though, as it's back in and Divinchentis has to play it behind his net. 2 minutes remain. Back to Nelson. Nelson goes up ice and hits the stick of Arnsby, and Arnsby will have to chase after it. Arnsby takes down his man. No call coming there. Divinchentis still in his net. Bloom over for Arnsby, and the Arnsby can't handle that pass. Back into the neutral zone now, Hislop with it. Hislop up for Bloom. Bloom gets a stick on it and chases after it. Minute and a half remaining in this third period. It's now or never for the Battalion. Morton back up ice, as now it's Terrance. Terrance in behind the net, minute 20. Arnsby with the puck in his zone, looks to go up ice. He finds Josh Bloom. Bloom gates it in, takes a shot, it's behind the lawn, and he falls down on it. And Josh Bloom, as now it looks like they're calling no goal, and the Battalion are just losing their minds on the referees here tonight, and it's hard to blame them.
Well, Josh Bloom takes a shot. This one goes, pops loose from the lawn. It's a very quick whistle, as even from up here we could see the puck squirt loose on the close side. And yeah, it's I think both coaches not too happy here. It looks like the Battalion taking a timeout with a minute 15 to go. And you know, with an offensive zone faceoff, Divinchentis most likely going to be off. But overall, though, if you look at this game, I think that both coaches are going to have some post-game comments about the refereeing here, as both of them have made some faces and some comments from the bench. We know Stan Butler loves to do that stuff.
Okay, I know it's a developmental league where the players are developing, the referees are developing, the coaches are developing, the broadcasters are developing. This has been one of the worst officiated games I've ever watched.
Yeah, it's been there've been a lot of things that are kind of let go, and it's definitely not the cleanest game that I think we've seen from an officiating standpoint. I mean, you look at the Arnsby one, Stan wanted a call as Arnsby kind of brought his man into the corner, sliding. Stan not very happy about that. We've seen a couple of holds not go the way. Houlihan's not been very happy with a lot of the stuff from the officials. But we'll see. This is big. With 75 seconds left, down a goal, Divinchentis out of his net. So this will be a big offensive faceoff. It looks like Jackson's going to take the draw.
Jackson in for the draw. The Battalion loading up on offensive weapons. Wakely out there, however. He already has 2 goals this game. Back to Nelson. Nelson to Winslow. Winslow to Petrov. Petrov in the middle of the ice. They can't get it. And the Otters are going to send the puck down to the Battalion end. And Jackson's going to be in a foot race. He overskates it. But Winslow comes in for support before he nearly loses the puck. But into the final minute now of this third period. Again, do or die time for the Battalion. You do not want to lose this game. Jackson in deep for Lalonde. It's over his stick. Wakely in the corner, battling for it. And Bloom tries to come in for support. Back to the point. Winslow can't keep it in as we're back out to the slot. Winslow up ice for Nelson. Nelson tries to gain the Otter zone. Can't. And now Terrance is going to have a chance. Terrance is going to ice this one as the Erie Otters are going to skate away with 2 points here and ice it. And that'll be Stan Butler's first win as a head coach of the Erie Otters.
Yeah, and this is again, the Battalion pretty much played a good maybe 15 minutes in this entire hockey game. Again, you can look at Charlie Robertson, a couple of goals that he let in that he probably should have had, but at the end of the day, the offense just didn't come to play today, and we see another 2 points are going to slip past the Battalion. And when you look at the end of this season, and you look at how these points are going to shake out with them in Ottawa, and even Barrie right behind them, these are the kind of games that you look at that might haunt you at the end of the year.
I'm lost for words right now. 5-3. The second worst team in the league. And you're losing 5-3 to the Erie Otters. As we're going to get an icing call here, and the Battalion are going to have to try and get a couple of quick ones here, as the Battalion are going to get an offensive zone draw.
Yeah, again, it's going to be very interesting with how they're going to do their goaltending, especially going into that not this coming weekend, but the next weekend when they're playing Sarnia, Flint, Saginaw, and seeing. I can't imagine DiVincentis is going to get 3 starts in a row, but you got to be thinking that Houlihan's flirting with the idea.
I think he does. I don't think we see much aside from Dom DiVincentis moving along here. 2 minutes left, 2 seconds left. As it's going to come out to Arnsby in the slot. Stan Butler's going to come in here, steal a game, steal a win, and that's going to be his first win as head coach of the Erie Otters. The North Bay Battalion are going to fall 5-3 here at this one with the Barrie Colts hot on their heels, who won a game this week, I might mind you. So, not a good look at all for the troops here on home ice. Dom DiVincentis came in, did his part. The third period was much better. Rest of the game, well, we don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah, and again, they go back to their win-loss, the flip-flopping. They won against Barrie, another loss here, so they're not able to string together multiple wins, and that's, again, when you're chasing Ottawa, even if they end up losing and you don't lose any ground, it's still ground that you should have covered, and again, a very important 2 points that they missed out on tonight.
Well, here's our 3 stars. We have Dallin Wakely as the 3rd star, and then Pano Femus as the 2nd star for the Erie Otters. And the 1st star will go to Alexi Davio of the Erie Otters. So, Ben will take you through the last remaining parts of this game. I'm Courtney Kenny, he's Ben Sargent. Derek Lindemann down between the benches as well. The Erie Otters skate away with a victory here. 5-3 over the North Bay Battalion. As always, keep your eye on the front line.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items, or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
As we welcome you back inside North Bay Memorial Gardens, it's Erie in Stan Butler's return since being promoted out of the head coaching job for the Battalion, as he comes back and claims a 5-3 victory for the Otters, as that is your final here this evening. As we take a look at the third period summary, it is Anthony Romani starting the scoring at the 4:04 mark of the third period. with Pasquale Zito and Avery Winslow getting the assist on that one. That's a power play goal. And then the second power play goal of the night coming from Dalen Wakely. His second of the game, his 26th of the year. Winslow, another assist. Zito, another assist. So Zito and Winslow, both assists on those third period goals. That came at the 7:39 mark. And then, of course, Kerry Terrence, who already potted one earlier in this game, finds his second of the night, an empty netter at 19:30 of the third period. Penalty-wise, there were quite a few, as right off the gate, it was Nathan Sauter and Alexander Lukin going off for a fight, as it was Sauter who also got a instigation penalty. This was at the 142 mark, as he also got a 10-minute misconduct, which is an automatic penalty when you have an instigation play. And then Cameron Morton going off for high sticking at the 229 mark. Ethan Procession going off for holding at 423. And finally, Cameron Morton going off again for interference at the 7:12 mark. Shots on net in the third period were 11-10 in favor of the Battalion, and the final 28-27 in favor of the Erie Otters. And now let's take a look at your 3 stars of the game.
Tonight's 3 stars is brought to you by Dave's Automotive Services, 411 Airport Road in North Bay. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect from Dave's.
Well, 3 stars of the game. Starting off at the number 3 is Dallin Wakely with a pair of goals. Pano Fimis, another getting the 2nd star as he picked up a goal and a point in that one as well. And Alex DeVoe getting the 1st star of the game for the Erie Otters as he picked up a goal in this game as well, along with 2 assists for a total of 3 points. As a pretty disappointing game, I think, for the Battalion, as they come away with a 5-3 loss, as they will look ahead to being on a 5-game road trip, which is starting on Saturday as they face the Barrie Colts. They play Monday against Ottawa before going on a weekend trip down in the U.S., down south, where they place Saginaw, Flint, and then Sarnia on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Their next home game is going to come March the 2nd against the Sudbury Wolves. That'll be a Thursday night battle. As for us, the next broadcast will be tomorrow night from the Powassan Sportsplex, as the Voodoos will be facing off against the French River Rapids. You can catch that game starting at, the broadcast will start around 6:50 p.m. The game will start at 7 p.m. as that'll be a good one. Myself and Courtney Kenny will be bringing you that game. As, again, the final here, 5-3 as the Erie Otters come in. Stan Butler, his very first victory as a coach for the Erie Otters, and it comes up against his former team, who he has first game in 3 years that they faced them. For Courtney Kenny and Derek Lindemann, I'm Ben Sargent saying have a great night. Thank you for spending your Thursday evening with us, and as always, keep your eye on the front line.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items, or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more. keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.